The Steve Dangle Podcast with your hosts, Steve Dangle, Adam Wilde, and Jesse Blake.
Hello and welcome to the Oh My God, It's Over, We're Gonna Die show! Man, Fred, you know what all I want to do today? I want to sit here.
Jump out of this window!
I want to jump out of the window! And onto that very nice...
We're not high enough.
It's a nice Molson patio, actually, right there. I want to jump right onto that Molson patio. Everybody seems to be having a good time there at Maple Leaf Square.
Did it rain?
Sport check at Maple Leaf Square.
It looks like it rained.
Anyway,
sorry, what?
Yeah. Also, I want to... You know what I want to do? I want to go through the Leafs' best players, and I want to compare who's got more goals to them and is no longer in the playoffs. That's what I want to do.
No.
I want to get mad. I want to get mad at something. I need to direct it somewhere. Is it that Matthews hasn't scored 80 jillion goals?
He hasn't.
Is it that Marner hasn't scored
one.
80 jillion goals?
Forget goals. He doesn't have shots on goal.
Yeah, well, there you go. Or is it that the team didn't score any goals, and if you don't score goals, you can't win?
So
It's crazy.
it's true. This isn't an excuse. I'm not giving them an excuse.
Stop excusing them.
But
Homer.
I'm convinced
That's loser talk. Full
I'm
diaper.
convinced they're sick.
You're convinced they're sick.
Sick. I don't know with what, but I'm going to present you this evidence. Joseph Woll.
You're going to get flamed for this.
I don't care. As opposed to what? As opposed to what? You know what?
Fair.
You know what? Like you get like hot acid spat at you by like flesh-eating dinosaurs every day. Like you can't just be like all the time. Like at some point you adapt. Joseph Woll, at some point about a week ago, I believe, missed a skate due to illness. And Jesse, maybe you can help me with some of these. I'm not sure. Matt Murray didn't back up in game, I think it was 3. It was Dennis Hildeby because Murray had an illness. Anthony Stolarz, we saw him throw up on the bench. That might have just been the concussion. We don't know. I'm just adding it to the pile. Chris Tanev left game 3 for a few moments with no apparent injury and returned after a few minutes.
Berube said it was an equipment issue.
Yeah, I bet he did. Matthew Nyes left last night with no apparent injury and returned after a few minutes. And I don't remember if it was game 3 or 4. Calle Yarncroke did the same. I think these guys are pooping and puking. I'm not lying. Like,
Not an excuse.
I know it. I know.
So then what's the relevance of bringing it up?
The relevance is I have faith that they're going to come back healthier and better for game 5, because it's one thing if like you just watch the majesty of the Florida Panthers and they're running the Leafs out of the building and man, they're showing these young guys a what for and they have the experience and this and that. By the end of last night, I was like, they can't do anything. They have no pop. Like they didn't have that last push, that dig deep push. And I don't think it's because they're quitters or because they're chokers. They just didn't look like they had it. It doesn't excuse what happened. Like, I'm sure the most energy they had all night was in the first period where they took 4 penalties. Joseph Woll, I'm sure, is fit as a fiddle on account of that was like the craziest world-beating performance I've seen a Leaf goalie put on, not named Joseph Woll. Oh, wait, it was Joseph Woll again. Like, it wasn't a good game. It was a terrible game. No. And I think we're looking for overarching themes about this player sucks and has always sucked. And, like, listen, it's a problem with Matthews. It is. It's a problem with Marner. It is. I mean, who had a good game? Other than Joseph Woll, who had a good game?
Nobody.
The
answer is nobody.
It was not an encouraging game. Yeah, it was not.
He did a good job on the penalty.
Yeah, I like Scott Lund.
I mean, those penalty killers. Like, by the 4th one, when they scored, like I barely reacted because I'm like, of course they scored.
Of course, yeah.
You gave up 4 penalties in like 16 minutes.
It was so funny. Pierre LeBrun tweeted something about how the Florida Panthers looked, their forecheck was right back at home and it started to look normal again or whatever. And I was like, and I tweeted him, I'm like, if they didn't look like that after 4 power plays, then pack up and go home. Like, of course, the Leafs gave them 4 beautiful opportunities.
And it screws up the entire rest of the game. Case in point, Max Pacioretty played, I think it was 2 more minutes at 5-on-5 than Matthews. Because he's out there on the penalty kill the whole damn time.
Yep.
And then they didn't bury their power play opportunities. It was a bad game. It was a terrible game. But full day off here today full day off tomorrow.
Sleep in your own bed,
Sleep in your own bed.
which is nice.
My brain just recalibrated. I thought today was Saturday. It's not.
It's Monday.
It's Monday. So they have Monday off. They have Tuesday off. They come back Wednesday. And they're going to show us who they are. Either they're the team from game 1 and 2 without the poops and pukes, or they're the team from game 4
or the team
and-
from
and-
all previous years.
yeah, and game 6 won't be worth watching.
Jesse, what do you want to rage about today? What will you complain about?
I'm good on the complaint.
You don't want to rage
department.
or complain?
boo!
No, I think
That's
I
no
think
Give
I'm
us
all
one
right.
thing to rage about?
I think I'm all right.
What?
on
How
the
will we make
complaint.
TikToks?
I'm still upset about how people think that yellow lights mean green. Like I'll
They
never
do.
get over that.
They do.
I think it's a new phenomenon.
No, it
where-
is not.
I don't remember it being this egregious before.
It's bad
I've been
downtown.
I've been driving
Yeah.
for what, like 20 years of my life now? No, not that long. Maybe 15 years of my life now. I don't remember early on where every yellow light means I'm going to speed up from a kilometer away to try and make this yellow. It's
So,
egregious.
Justin, our social lead, once told me a story of him in the back seat when he was a kid and his dad driving the car. He goes, "What does red mean, son?" He goes, "Stop." "What does green mean, son?" It means go. "And what does yellow light mean, son?" "Hurry up, hurry up."
Yellow actually means stop. It means slow down and
Because
stop
it's going to
at
be
the
red.
light.
Yeah.
Because it is red. You were supposed to slow down when you see yellows and stop at the light.
I'm sorry, though. There's
Goose
Tim
it.
Hortons is right there, and I can't wait 2 more minutes.
No, I
right?
saw an accident like a year and a half ago of somebody trying to do this, and then the person was waiting to make a left turn, and they T-boned, and
Yeah.
it was awful.
You know who the worst
What are you,
offender of
me?
it?
This is your topic?
No,
Adam asked me about doing rant about something.
worst offenders of that, by the way. Worst offenders of that, the streetcars. Absolutely atrocious.
Well, they're streetcars.
Yeah, no, not an excuse, man. I've seen just on the drive-in today, 2 streetcars ran yellows, and I'm sitting at the intersection going the other way, and I'm like, holy, is this really happening?
I'm gonna
and it
say,
happens
a little
all the
different.
time. No,
It
it's
is a
not.
little different.
You know what's weird about
It's a little
streetcars? No, it isn't. They can get tickets too. They absolutely can be in trouble.
Listen, my mom doesn't take the highway. She will take the highway
she
if
doesn't like
her life
taking it.
depends on it. That's about it. She's not so bad that she's one of those drivers who never takes a left turn and will take several rights. I was in the car with my friend's mom once in high school, and he did that, and it was completely ridiculous. But one thing she taught me, and I was like, "Mom, this is just you being a worrywart," is have no faith in any of the drivers on the road.
Yeah. Don't rely on that guy in front of you to stop.
Do not assume anyone is going to do what you think they should.
I think that's a fair
100%.
point.
Yeah.
So-
you should drive defensively.
Yeah, your problem is thinking that streetcar's going to stop. It's not.
I hate it because sometimes they'll do it into traffic, and then they've blocked the intersection for.
Oh, yeah. Don't do that.
That's what I'm talking about.
yeah,
That
yeah.
happened to me
Well,
2 times on the way
that's awful.
here. It's because, but it's also because the streetcars are we got a schedule to keep.
What happened? Who'd you complain to?
Nobody. 'Cause
Yep.
who's going to take my complaint?
Well,
the AI
crazy.
bot at
Skill issue.
TTC?
Get good.
It's crazy that you drive to here.
Well,
That's insane.
Jesse's right. Jesse's right.
I love driving here.
This is actually
To Maple Leaf Square, you're like, I'm going to get in a car and,
Yep.
and come down here and park?
we don't
That's
have
insane.
a live audience here at the Sport Check at Maple Leaf Square. These are all registered therapists, and this is your intervention. What are you doing driving
It's
here?
actually it's not as bad as you think because where I live, it's just along Lakeshore.
No.
But I had to go up to Queen
Yeah, and then you
today,
got to park.
and then
See, he's justifying it.
Yeah.
This is why we needed this.
Crazy.
Adam, here are all the ways your driving has
Do you
affected
streetcar
us.
here? Is that what you do?
No, the GO train.
You take the GO train.
Yeah, it's one stop. Yeah,
Oh, that's
where I live.
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So do I.
I like that.
Yeah, or subway,
Okay.
either one. I
right.
switch depending on if I'm on time or,
Just if you-
or if I'm early or not. Sorry.
Okay, I got you. Now, Jesse, Steve, audience, we need to be mad about something. We need to be angry about something. And
Sam Bennett.
and well, listen, you're close on that one.
Okay.
Because before we even get into the game, because we'll break down the game. I mean, it was pretty bad.
Dmitry Kulikov.
I need you to tell me
Victor Erat.
how many games.
Oh, it's right.
Yeah, Victor Erat needs to.
He's not my favorite mascot.
No, he's
SJ
not.
Sharkey all day.
Oh yeah.
Eats Victor
Well,
Erat for lunch.
Carlton top 5.
There's only 32 mascots in the NHL, and 2 of them are named Victor E. You suck.
Which is the other one?
Victor E. Green in Dallas.
In Dallas.
Right.
Man, that's worse than their jerseys.
You're learning
Whoa!
this? You're learning this, right? For the first time.
I had no idea.
There's
Isn't that
8 teams.
awful?
That's terrible.
It's so bad.
8 teams left in the playoffs, and a quarter of them have a mascot called Victor E. something.
It's like the CFL having 2 teams called the Rough Riders.
Yes!
That's so
That
bad.
is exactly what it's like.
Wow.
Peak laziness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rename
Boo.
it. Ooh, that
Boo.
sucks. So I guess, what I would like to understand, and I want you guys to do this with me, if we could all clutch our pearls for a second and say, how many games over 10 will Max Domi get? How many? I know it can't be 10. It must be 11 or 12 or 48 or banned from the league forever. How dare he?
He's getting nothing.
Of course he's getting nothing. He's probably not even going to get fined. But the absolute outrage, the falling off the chair. What has happened to my kingdom, to my beautiful kingdom, that this could happen in hockey, where Barkov gets bumped from behind at the end of the game, and I look at some of the hits that have been thrown, and these are the same. And I'm calling you out, media people. You're the same people who tried to claim Sam Bennett rubbed Anthony Stoller's head. Oh, you're the same ones, and you're losing your mind over Barkov and Domi. Meanwhile, that clip of Kulikov elbowing Marner in the head has gone viral, and nobody says anything.
Listen, time.
Just say it. Hold on.
No.
Say it. You don't like the Leafs. Fine.
Yep.
That's totally cool. Just say that. I'm fine with that. I'd rather it just be that. I'm cool with that. You hate the Leafs. You're totally by it. You don't like the Leafs. That's cool. That's fine. I get that. I get that we're the Empire in Star Wars. I totally get we're Darth Vader. I get it. But at a certain point, if you're going to present as a journalist and you're going to present objectivity, I don't do that. I'm a fan, right? I'm not objective. I try to be objective with other teams. With the Leafs, man, hell no. I'm go Leafs go all the friggin' way.
We
but
tell you that up front.
I will say to you, that there were, Evan Rodriguez, how many times is he going to go to the tunnel? How many times is Evan Rodriguez going to lie down shot?
It was a bad hit.
That was not a bad hit. It was
interference.
If he had a puck, that would have been a clean hit.
Yeah, but he didn't.
Yeah,
so
and Evan Rodriguez falls down like
the whole point
shot
of the call is that he didn't have
because
a puck.
he listens to the show and he took your advice.
Why
do you think Evan Rodriguez was called for an embellishment when he got his teeth stapled to the glass?
Well, that wasn't going to happen twice.
It's because that's what he does.
Yeah,
You're
missing the point here.
Give me the point.
The point is what Max Domi did happens every playoff, multiple times a playoff, usually committed by a team that ends up in the Final Four.
But Steve, this happened after the play when the game was over. The NHL's got to look at that.
You're right.
They don't like it when the game is over.
You're right, and I'm done giving a good goddamn. I'm done. How many times do we got to say, this happened to the Leafs, this happened to the Leafs, this isn't a hockey play, this isn't a hockey play. The Leafs do it once. And how many consecutive playoff runs is this going to happen? Thing happens, isn't called. Thing happens, isn't called. Thing happens, isn't punished. Nazem Kadri loses his mind and punches Jake DeBrusk. This happens all the time. And what do we always say? We put on our wig, we put on our big honking clown nose, and we go, if this is the standard going forward, I'm okay with it. If it's a suspension against my team, I don't like it. If it's a thing my player did, go for it. Go Leafs, go. I don't care. You don't like my team, that's fine. I don't like yours. I don't like your goof face. I don't like your goof suit. I don't like your goof Twitter account. Screw you. I don't care. The amount of... We talked about this last show, and I'm not accusing Sportsnet of anything. I'm just bringing it into the broader conversation.
If you only listen to Sportsnet, the Panthers have already won this series.
Oh, I know. But I did like Bieksa. I finally, I badly was like, he's about to say this is a suspension. And then he acted like his games were televised, which I really appreciated. Kevin Bieksa was a defenseman in the NHL, and this is exactly the kind of thing him or his teammates. He played with Corey Perry. Are you friggin' kidding me? He acted like this is a thing him and his teammates might have done in the past. And he's like, if I'm Max Domi, I don't apologize for it. I was like, oh.
Blake Wheeler backed him up on that too.
And Blake Blake Wheeler.
Noted clean player, Blake Wheeler.
Blake Wheeler, if I'm not mistaken, didn't he rock Evgeny Malkin? And it wasn't the nicest. And the next time they played each other, they fought. And it was Blake Wheeler who was like, all right, I got to give him this. And he dropped his gloves and kudos to him. Right? But what we talked about last show is Sportsnet will bend itself into P's and Q's, bend itself into a pretzel.
They'll make themselves the McDonald's logo.
Like
just backwards. Just crazy.
We are not the Toronto Network. I swear to God, we're not the Toronto Network. Please, nobody in Vancouver or Edmonton or Calgary think we're the Toronto Network. And at the end of the day, they are always going to be a network based in Toronto. No one is going to like you because you were sort of objective about the Leafs. You're not earning these brownie points. Ever.
Well, if you wanted to have brownie points, don't close the studios in the West.
Well, and then there's all that too, but that's a whole other discussion. You're not getting those brownie points. And then all you got to do, I've been reading these things for too long to not notice a pattern. The stank. Some non-Toronto reporters and writers talk about the Leafs with. You don't like them. Leaf fans, they don't like you. I don't know what it is. They seem to think you're different than everyone else. You're louder or more annoying than everyone else. They're simply
but you're louder
more
until you're
you.
not because you're quiet in there.
Yeah, you're loud. You're too loud. You're too quiet. You're never going to be good enough. You're never going to be what they want you to be because they hate you on principle. They hate the crest on the uniform of the team that you cheer for. They hate the city you're from, whatever it is. They hate it on principle, and I'm done appealing to these people. I'm done apologizing for it. I don't care. You should stop caring too. Rally behind your team, rally behind each other, and no one else. Screw them. I'm so sick of it. It's the playoffs. Let's act like it. No, you don't need to go up there. You're not running for office. You don't, oh man, what was your voting record on Max Domi? What was your voting record on Evan Rodriguez? What was your voting record on Sam Bennett?
Did you give the selfie to Reinhardt or Barkov?
I don't give a good gosh darn. Domi's on my team. Do I approve what he did? I don't know. I don't apologize for it. Pfft. Don't care. Don't care. There's got to be a breaking point at some point. And you're allowed to criticize your team. You are. You're allowed to say...
And you're allowed to criticize other teams.
Yes. That was a dirty play. That was a dirty hit. Our team played like garbage last night. You're allowed to do all that. But if you're looking for it from anywhere else, you just got to know there are a bunch of goofballs out there lying to everybody. And I'm not going to get any tweets from them, but all of them feel seen when they see this clip. And no, yes, it is you. I am talking directly about you.
There you go. Now, let's talk about the game, which was bad. It was a bad game. Let's call it what it is. Is this game, Jesse, worse than Game 5 against Ottawa, which was also a 2-0 loss?
No, it was 4-0, but two empty netters.
Two empty netters.
Yeah.
They're different.
Okay.
They're 100% different circumstances. I think the opponents are completely different. The circumstances are different. I don't think it's fair to compare those two efforts.
Okay. Now, in terms of this game, though, I guess the similarity that I'm trying to hit at is that it's both times the team was ineffective at just about everything. The Leafs looked like for a minute there they could have had one on the power play. There was a John Tavares situation towards the end of the game too, as well, where he almost had a rebound and it kind of went, around the net or something like that instead of into it.
They had a couple chances.
This was not. I don't know if it could be sickness, it could be effort, it could be just, I don't know, tired and banged up and whatever.
The speed and power and explosiveness wasn't there in nearly anybody.
My question is, where did the Leafs forecheck go? Where is that?
Well, the speed and power and explosiveness weren't there. I don't think it was anything the Panthers did particularly well. They defended their blue line well. But all those, chipping it into the corner or whatever it was in those board battles that the Leafs have excelled at, they weren't there. They weren't there to be had in this game. And it's part of the reason why I'm kind of buying what I am selling about the illness thing. It just wasn't there. They didn't have the extra bit.
They all had foggy head. Like there was when the Leafs have been at their best in this series, one of the things they've done is they've dumped the puck in and forechecked hard on the defense.
And crashed.
And what I found really interesting last night is they kind of stopped doing it. William Nylander, a little too many plays at the blue line. Marner, a little too many plays at the blue line. And then, the reason that Kulikov was able to hit Marner like that is because Calle Jarnkrok dropped him a suicide pass at the blue line. I don't know if you guys know the play that led to that, but Jarnkrok, all he has to do is chip it in there. Instead, he carries it in and passes it back to Marner, who is standing still.
Yeah,
and then has to move out of the way and try not to get killed. And which was, by the way, I don't even put that hit on Kulikov. I put that on Jarnkrok. That was a bad play.
Well, I mean, you can't elbow guys in the head until you can, unless a blue guy does it, and then you can't.
Yeah.
Listen, you take 4 penalties in the first period. Like, if you're sick, let's say they're sick and their energy is drained, you need to have an efficient game. That is as inefficient as possible.
Yeah.
4 power plays given up, and the first penalty kill, you survive, you do all right, great. Second one, you survive, you do all right, great. And Wool's having a great game. And look at Matthews out there, and look at Marner, and look at Wool, and look at Lawton, and look at all these guys. Third one, oh my God, now they're just playing with fire. What are you guys doing? And then the fourth one, oh, look at Matthews, and look at Marner. And
and then it leads to the fourth penalty, which is a puck over glass.
Yes, and now your game's done.
So the one thing that Jesse and I were talking about on the pre-show that was sort of like our biggest, thing, and Jess, I kind of want to follow up on this is the play of Joseph Woll, because going into yesterday's game, obviously, there was a lot of people who were like, man, they really missed Stoller, and we've been saying, hey, man, this is a good goalie who's been out for 3 weeks sitting. What did you think of his play last night on the ice?
He was great. Best player on, I think we said it enough, like best player on the Leafs last night for sure. Like
best player on the ice for either team.
He kept them in that when they shouldn't have been a few times, The numbers look better on the Leafs than their performance if you watch that full 60 minutes, and it's largely because of Joseph Woll.
Right. So what I'm getting at here is they can win a series with this guy.
100%. 100%. I'm not overly discouraged. Like, it's 2-2 and game 5 hasn't happened yet. I think everyone is dreading what might come of game 5, and I understand that, but the Leafs haven't lost at home.
What if they win?
To this team? What if they win? I want everyone to leave it open to the possibility. Open your mind to they might win. Good things might happen to your team. Am I usually saying this after the Leafs lose back-to-back games in the playoffs? No, I am not. Even after the Sens won, I was like, you idiots are really about to blow this, aren't you? And then they didn't. Then they open up the series 2-0 against the Panthers, and I'm all the way back on board. Game 3's tight. It's up, it's down. You blow it, you come back. It's overtime. It's a bounce. Damn. You were never going to sweep them. Game 4 is their first stinker. And they still only lost 2-0. Only. And even the second one, like, to me, that's just a bad pass late in the game because you're cheating for offense.
With the Sam Bennett goal?
Yeah. And it had to be Sam Bennett. But there's so many players on the Panthers where I'm like, oh, it had to be him. I hate them all. And I'm tired of pretending I don't. Screw all of them.
Yeah.
Screw every guy. What do you think? They're like, oh, yeah, I don't like the Leafs, but I like this player. No, they're not. No, they're not. They're not thinking about that. USA. They don't care, man. They don't care. Anyway, I got lost.
I love chatting about the Leafs, and Toronto Sports Network, boy, they sure get all the coverage.
They do.
But I'll say this, they're the only team in the second round you could bet underdog every single game, and that's still the case for game 5.
Uh-huh.
So listen, we've talked it all out. I don't really want to know anything other than, what does your gut tell you? Jesse, are you betting underdog? Steve, are you betting underdog?
It's good value, so I'll take it.
Yeah, like, listen, if you're going to bet on your team, like, here's what you've probably been dealing with all season, is you bet for the team that you cheer for, and it's the Leafs. They were probably the favorites in the vast majority of the games that they played. How many times were they the underdog?
Yeah, you don't get the opportunity to bet the Leafs as an underdog during the regular season very often. It's like very few teams, few and far between. So take it in the playoffs while you have it.
You don't got to be one of those coward who hedges their bets. Oh, I'm going to bet on the other team, and that way I'm happy either way. Shut up.
That's true.
Yes, it is.
Producer Drew does that all the time.
Coward, who actually does very well. No, $2 Steve and the Leafs.
Yeah?
Yep.
Does it freak you out, Steve, that
Yes.
the two most likely outcomes in the series, according to BetMGM on the odds, is the Panthers 4-2 and then the Panthers 4-3?
I said Panthers in 7 before the series began. I've gotten the last 2 Leaf series right.
Yeah, but 4-2 is the most likely scenario according to the betting odds.
Most likely?
Yeah.
Well, the Leafs haven't lost 4 straight all year, and it would be extremely Leafy if they started now, but I don't think they will.
Of the correct series results updated as of right now, the most likely result is 4-2.
Wow.
Why do they hate them?
Yeah. Here, Maddie, you can even bring this up here. You guys can have a look.
Jesse, what speaks to that? Why is that?
The least likely result is Leafs 4-2. That's how they're ranking them.
Damn.
And Leafs 4-3 is the third least likely.
Is that based on how people are betting? Like
Game
most
5
people are
is at
betting a
home.
4-2?
Yeah.
What is that? How does it? How do you explain that? I'm honestly
on this one, I think they just think that's what is most likely to happen.
The Leafs are at bloody home.
Because in this game, going into Game 5, the Panthers are the favorite in the game. So you have to take step one is they're favored to win Game 5, right?
Yep.
So if they're favored to win Game 5, that means they go up 3-2, and if they are 3-2 going into Game 6, who's picking the Leafs?
Right.
Nobody. Everybody's picking the Panthers. So in Game 6, the Panthers are going to be favored to win. So the results based on the correct series score is Panthers 4-2 being the most likely outcome if they are the favorite in this game and then the next game.
So the odds don't.
That's how they've figured things out.
The odds don't have the passion, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Damn.
And then
MGM, I'm mad at you.
And the second most likely odds, Panthers winning in 7, is the same way. You know, they're favored to win. So then they're up 3-2. They're probably going to win 6 or 7.
I'm mad.
But I think it's very interesting.
You're big mad?
Big mad.
Nobody believes in them.
Wow.
I forget how to say mad in French. I was going to say it in French.
Go to betmgm.com/dangle for terms and conditions. BetMGM, an official partner of the NHL. What did you think, Jesse, of at the end of the game, Matthew Tkachuk saying to Nylander, "Oh, you're going to do that to Barkov. We're going to come after you next game."
Yeah, like, are we surprised?
Skating into him at the speed of smell. He can't skate,
oh, man.
Matthew. He can't skate.
That's like what Matthew Tkachuk does. Like, he's gonna talk his stuff, and he's probably not gonna back it up entirely on the ice, you know, because he doesn't have the speed or the energy right now because he's definitely still injured. But that's hilarious, and William Nylander's not fazed by anything like that.
Pointing his stick and winking.
Yeah.
Cringe. You're not that guy, pal. Trust me, you're not that guy.
I actually kind of like it. It's very WWE. Put on
Oh,
a show.
yeah.
That's why he's a star.
WWE is interesting and exciting. Matthew Tkachuk is a guy who stands stock still and winks. That's what he's been in these playoffs. He might come out in Game 5 and be their best player, but it's not going to be based on anything we've seen so far. Lots of players on the Panthers worry me. He doesn't. Not this year.
Yeah, he is.
It's 2025.
He's clearly hurt. Okay, so if the Leafs, let's turn our attention to Wednesday night, because obviously Wednesday night, if you are going to get a win, and Jesse, you're going to be there, and you've seen this, what does it need to be? What are the things they need to do that you didn't see in Game 4?
Well, like, we didn't go through the particulars on Game 4, I guess, but like,
They just got
Do you want to?
shelled
I don't
for
know. They
60
just got
minutes.
shelled.
well,
what do you want to say?
There's two teams on the ice, and I think.
What do you
But,
want?
where do you wanna go?
If we're going to Game 4 and we're looking at like what they can do better, like the Leafs played well in games 1 through 3. That's why it's not a disaster, and it's the same narrative coming out of Ottawa in that Game 6 where you're upset with the order of, or Game 5, sorry, you were upset with the order of things. If they leave Florida and it's 2-2 and they had won the fourth game out of in Game 4 instead of they winning the first 2 at home, everything looks a little better. And I feel like once again, if people are losing their minds over the series right now, it's just the order of how things played out. I think the Panthers had a stinker in game number 1 and the Leafs had a stinker in game number 4. And these are two very close teams. The Leafs, like, your goaltending is a part of your team. So Joseph Woll holding them in that game is their team holding them in that game.
If Bobrovsky goes down, Vanacek is not having that performance.
No. Well, we don't know if he has it in him, but based on on paper, we're assuming that Vanacek can't do that.
He's not.
But Bobrovsky held them in when there was a number of opportunities for the Leafs to tie that game where Willie had 2 breakaways.
Yeah.
One
like
and a half,
partial.
really.
Yeah.
One got stuffed out by the Panthers because they're good on defense. You know, they stop him on a breakaway. And then the other one got saved. Matthew Nyes had a shorthanded breakaway that Bobrovsky saved.
That one-
Their goaltending. We're talking about Joseph Woll all night. The guy at the other end outplayed Joseph Woll. And it was a 1-0 game for most of it. And then William Nylander has that bad pass where he can, if you want to bring up this image, this is William Nylander's view up the ice. He's looking he's at center ice. He's looking at 2 guys. One's along the wall where you just chip it down into the zone, and JT's in the middle of the ice, and he decides to send the pass there to the middle of the ice, and it leads to a turnover to the goal. That's just a guy not using his head in that moment.
Just a phalanx of Panthers right there.
I would rather have Willie Nylander hold on to this puck and try and carry it in the zone himself than throw that pass. That is out of all of the decisions you can make on the ice in this moment, besides shooting it back at Joseph Woll and trying to score on your own goal, this is the second worst decision you could make. There's so many other options, and I don't believe that's that player. I believe he made a mistake.
Well, what about
he's forcing it, right?
Yeah. Morgan Riley had the puck, and Willie was open, Domi was open, and Riley went Domi.
Yes.
And that was that weird tip.
That was there was a free one-timer.
Yeah, it caught him weird too, right? It wasn't a great pass.
So you look at all these little mistakes that they keep making, and they're still in the game, though. It's 1-0 up until this point, and you just need one bounce to go your way. And the Panthers, to their credit, have been relentless this entire series when they are playing well. They're relentless on the forecheck. Yeah. They're able to dump the puck, and they always kind of retrieve it when they're going to chase it because they're so good at that. So it's still a tight series between 2 tight teams. And I don't know how it's going to play out because they are so good and the margins are so thin between these 2 teams. And we can't just look at this one game and say the Leafs are out of it or the Panthers are going to dominate. Coming into this thing, we all thought it'd be tight. It'd be really close. We thought the Panthers were looking a little better than the Leafs, and that's kind of how it played out so far. It's still super tight.
I want to say one thing too on what you're talking about. What I meant earlier with what happened to the Leafs forecheck is I saw the Panthers, even when the Leafs were holding for a change, their forwards were challenging the Leafs defense even behind their own net, right? Because the Leafs are slow to break out. Paul Maurice knows this. They're always slow to break out. And in the regular season, you got the time. Right? They're not going to, I don't know, it's a Tuesday night. We're playing St. Louis. They're not going to come after us like that.
Rarely are you going to get someone's all.
Clearly what happened last night is they saw whatever it was, whatever weakness they saw, they were able to say, if I skate directly at this guy, he's going to make a mistake. And it happened again and again. And you're seeing Marner and Nylander and Tanev and McCabe cutting back and passing the puck back behind the net and trying. And I'm not seeing that enough at the other end of the ice. I'm not seeing guys like Kulikov and Schmidt, who the Leafs should and did feast on in the first 2 games, really making the mistakes that they should have. And if you have pressure on you, you're going to make those mistakes, especially if you're defenseman at that level and not at like an Aaron Ekblad puck moving level, that sort of thing.
Well, and if the Leafs had the puck as much as the Panthers, what would you expect the Panthers to do? Hit you nonstop.
Yeah.
And there just wasn't enough of that from the Leafs. Again, the speed, the explosiveness, it wasn't there. They rarely made them pay. There was obviously OEL on Rodriguez. That's a penalty. Benoit on Reinhart.
That was a big hit.
Oh my God, the pop on the stream for that. I don't know if we cut it for a highlight. We probably assumed there was going to be a goal coming. Never came. But that was absolutely ridiculous. And maybe one of the only bright spots in the game. They just didn't make the Panthers pay for having the puck. There wasn't a toll.
I thought you guys might find it interesting that 7 minutes ago, NHL Player Safety tweeted out that Max Domi has been fined $5,000 under the CBA.
There it is.
Barkov hit.
That's good.
I mean, it warranted something. But
and by the way, this morning, Paul Maurice confirmed Barkov's fine.
Yeah.
Well, he got up. Like,
Yeah.
I don't.
Well, he was asked about
I don't
it.
think anybody thought he was going to be injured.
I just want to shout out Paul Maurice and Craig Berube for doing their jobs as playoff coaches. You never give an inch as a playoff coach. Your team did nothing wrong. Their team did everything wrong. Paul Maurice all of a sudden became an expert of, hey, we know what he was doing. He laid that hit at a particular time of game. But enough about Matthew Tkachuk trying to take out Marner's legs in game 1. I want to talk about Max Domi on Barca. Oh, now it matters to Paul. And then Craig Berube actually burst out laughing on the train when I read this. He said Kulikov's elbow on Marner was 10 times worse.
And it was. It's a headshot.
Adam!
It's a headshot.
I mean, it's bad.
It's a headshot.
10 times worse.
10 times.
Craig.
I would even say 12.
Wow. Damn. 16 because it's Marner. Wow.
I thought Mitch Marner had a good game. I like.
You liked it?
I feel like he's not getting credit he deserves for the defensive side of the game that he had.
So nobody wants to give them credit for that, though, Jesse, because they're not scoring.
I don't know if you guys remember the play where Mitch was caught back and he was the only man to race back and he blocked the shot himself after making a poke check on one side of the ice.
He did that a few times. I think.
It was the one where he blocked it with his entire body. It hit him. And like those little things, I feel like Mitch has been excelling at these playoffs because of how free they've been playing a little when they've been playing really well. And I think defensively, he had a really good game. Offensively, obviously, there was zero. But like defensively, he's doing his part.
One guy that I thought was just, he was good at certain parts, not good at others, was Willie. And there was a I think a shorthanded 2-on-1. Of course it was shorthanded because the Panthers were on, six power plays throughout the game. But Marner is back and Willie kind of gives up on the second guy. And I was kind of like, man, you at least got to tie his stick up, do something.
I think Willie was really frustrated because when Tavares has a really good game, he does stuff that you don't necessarily appreciate. But he shows up on the score sheet, I guess. When he has a bad game, though, it's also subtle, I think. I don't think he had a good game at all.
Tavares?
He was invisible. And he doesn't have a particularly fast game. And when the Leafs aren't able to break out or use their speed or any of the stuff that I keep mentioning, he's not able to get down low and do his thing and win puck battles and pin guys in. And then he can't get it to Pacioretty and can't get it to Willie, and Willie's got to carry it in on his own, and he's got to make silly passes, but because he switched onto a line with Domi now, and that whole line, which has been so effective, had a bad game, and I think a lot of it started with their center had no pop.
One thing that the Leafs continue to excel at is face-off percentage. This matters.
They're killing.
Lawton was good last night.
Yeah.
Lawton was good. 63.5% of face-offs won.
That's heavy.
As a team?
As a team.
Nice.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Bennett's losing a lot of face-offs. Like
Yep.
he is almost a consistent L in the face-off dot.
Yeah.
And it goes back to, guys, when we're talking about Game 5, like obviously that's something you can hang your hat on. That's a good one. The block shots were somewhat similar last night, which I thought was interesting considering how many more the Panthers had overall. It was like 18 block shots to 12. So pretty close, right?
So the Leafs weren't even getting in front of as many as they usually do. Like nothing went right, and they still lost 2-0.
All right.
Like it wasn't a complete ass kicking. It wasn't good. I'm not stoked about it, but
but, like,
they were in that game until 7 minutes left.
The penalties they took 6 of them over the
Yeah.
course of the game. The Panthers were 1 for 6 on the power play. Like the
Yeah.
penalty kill did their job that game, and
yeah.
that's why I'm crediting Mitch too, because he's a large part of that. And Austin was on the penalty kill for a lot of that. They had a really good penalty kill.
Yeah. Well, you know how you get to Carnegie Hall? Practice. Something tells me Game 5 will be a little different. And Adam, I don't know who made these calls, but you asked me before the game. You're like, here's the officiating crew. What do you think?
Yes,
And it's-
Gord Dwyer and Francis.
Was it Francis Chiron?
Yeah.
And I don't know enough about their individual tendencies, but Gord Dwyer, the last game he worked was Game 2 Edmonton Vegas, where he was highly criticized by the players on Vegas and their coach for not making a call.
Oh, it was on Arvidsson and McNabb.
Yeah,
It was where we thought McNabb popped his shoulder out, right? It was at the end of the game.
for not making a call. And here he goes into Florida. And unlike in that game 2, the home team gets every call early.
And there are 9 total power plays last night. If you look at all the penalties at the end, so Domi got 2 minutes for boarding Barkov, but then Marchand, McMahon, and Ekblad all got misconducts too.
Who cares?
It doesn't matter. Who cares? But yeah, I mean, 6-3 were the power plays. And you can't, I'm sorry. Like, I knew the makeup calls were coming in the second period. And the Leafs got 3 of 4 penalties. 3 of 4 power plays potential in the second period. You can't tell me that if the Leafs were worth 6, and I'll even make it 5 because one of them's a puck over glass that you have to call.
Yeah.
You can't tell me that the Panthers didn't warrant a couple more. You can't.
No, I know. And the Kulikov one got missed. And here's an idea that I pitch all the time. And it's usually after something happens to the Leafs. So everyone just goes, fart, Steve. No one cares. Shouldn't Max Domi, or wouldn't it be appealing to you, Panthers fans, that Max Domi start game 5 in the box? Why shouldn't he?
Well,
he got his pound of flesh at the end of the game. He knew what he was doing. No, Leafs. Oh, now it seems like a decent idea, doesn't it?
You know who was made available for comment post-game, guys?
Sam Bennett.
Yeah. He said, Domi trying to take a run at Barkey at the end there. It's been a physical series, so I expect more of that. Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah. It's not every day you win the Stanley Cup, you win the Four Nation Face-Off, you're a Team Canada player, Stanley Cup champion as an invertebrate.
What?
What do you mean?
What does that mean?
I mean, he has no spine. He took out the Leafs starting goalie, wasn't made available.
No.
But something happened to the Panthers.
Which also couldn't be, it might have not have been his decision.
Get out of here. If he wanted to talk, he would have.
No, that's not how it works.
It's garbage. They should have made him available.
Well, I think they needed to.
Yeah, but your complaints are misdirected.
I don't care.
I
don't care.
You got to talk about Panthers communications.
I'm done being reasonable. Okay. I think I'm over it. No, they should have made him available. They didn't, coward. And then something happened to one of his guys, and he couldn't find a microphone fast enough. Attaboy.
I also find it funny, again, the Panthers narrative after the Stollers thing of like, well, but he's our friend.
Oh, yeah?
Paul Maurice, he's one of our guys. No, he's not. He's one of our guys. Paul, you're not one of our guys. You coached here, but you're not one of our guys.
You're also...
Go drink out of Lake Ontario, friend.
We haven't, first of all, yuck. Second
right
of all,
at the shoreline, too. Right at the shoreline.
We haven't heard from Stollers on this. Bennett's like, oh, yeah, I reached out to him. We still haven't heard from Stollers on this, and the reason for that is he's in Toronto recovering from a concussion that Sam Bennett gave him. But I think I was on a team with this player makes it seem like, the NHL team you cheer for isn't Shoresy, right? Like, not everyone is this band of best friends who give each other ice cream after the game. And what you see when they're doing and they're announcing the starting lineup, that's not reality necessarily. These guys don't all get along. I don't know that they were best friends. I don't know that. Cousins and Stollers, they were teammates. I don't know that they're best friends. Like Cousins from the Ottawa series when he flipped the puck at them. If Stollers comes out and says, yeah, we're best friends, he did something, that's hockey, whatever, then I'll listen to Stollers and I'll take his word for it. But we haven't heard from him yet because he's recovering from a head injury that the Panthers gave him.
Sam Bennett and Paul Maurice's word.
Because screw those guys. Go Leafs. That's why. I'm
Fair
done
enough.
being reasonable.
Jesse, do you have anything else you want to hit on before we go on to Dallas and Winnipeg?
I think sometimes we forget there's another team on the ice. I think sometimes people go into these games and they say either the Leafs suck or they're great, and that there's not another team competing against them trying to also win the game, and another team that's the defending Stanley Cup champions who are trying to play these games and also win this series. And credit to Florida for playing a good game. I thought you were a little overconfident last game, Adam, where you came out of it saying Florida Panthers played their best game and the Leafs almost won it.
I still think they played a better game 3 than they did game 4.
Totally, but they didn't have to play even better in game 4 because the Leafs didn't show up. But this is a good team at the other end of the ice.
Yeah, I still think the Leafs can beat them, though.
Yes,
I think
100. Like nobody's saying they can't.
I think that's where it comes from, Jess. It's not that I don't respect the Panthers, because come on.
Yeah, they're the cup champs.
But I understand why it lands that way. I think for me, it's the Leafs of the previous 8 or 9 years, you have every reason to be like, man, those guys, those friggin' guys. I'm sorry, this postseason I haven't seen that.
Yeah.
I saw one game of that against Ottawa.
Really good hockey team,
really
and
good
not
team.
the same at all
Not
as
the
the
same.
Sheldon Keefe Leafs. It's
And-
completely different mentality, team on the ice, how they play, everything.
And I agree, Jesse. We're in a new era, and sometimes when you're in a new era, it takes you a couple years to realize it. Right? It's like everybody looks back at that Montreal series and gone, well, Dubas and Shanny, had they been smart, they would have changed up their strategy after that series. But what they did was, well, we lost John, so no, it can't be our fault. It must be luck.
Damn.
And that's what they said. And they were wrong. And their defense was crap, and it was crap for 8 years. And Treliving came in and finally said, hey, we'd like to get some competent guys back there. How about some guys that can actually play hockey and not Martin Marincin and Nikita Zaitsev and whoever else you want to add into that?
This decor compared to what it was
it
makes me genuinely angry.
It's so embarrassing that we were sold that bill of goods, that Kyle Dubas unironically sat at a podium and said, we like Cody Cece's number. Go drink out of Lake Ontario right at the shoreline.
Right.
He's still
Right
in the
where all
playoffs,
the
by
dirt
way.
hangs out.
No,
So I guess
ahead.
my point is, sorry, Jess, I'm belaboring this, but my point in this is a different team. I don't categorize. No matter how this series goes, to me, I've moved past that. And last year was still mostly Dubas's team, right? I honestly,
Hey, Don.
yeah. What do you mean?
This is Dubas's team. Everything
it's
bad
still
to do
Dubas.
with this team is
No,
Dubas.
listen. I mean, listen. There was only so much they could do. It was like Bertuzzi, Domi, and Klingberg, right? Like, what else could they do?
Yeah.
But when you saw what Brad really wanted to do, which was what happened this past offseason,
This is Brad's team.
This is Brad's team.
Yep.
And I just think at a certain point we got to. The reason I'm like, hey, remember, this isn't the Leafs collapsing. Florida is good, and the Leafs were good in Game 3.
Now
That's what I was meaning.
We reserve the right to change our mind when we watch games 5 and 6.
Yeah, when you get
possibly
more
7.
evidence, obviously, you can have a different opinion. Like, we're not going to be able to predict the future perfectly. But I think, like, that's the thing, is that these losses aren't the complete meltdowns of the teams of the past. It's not the same team. The answers are a lot simpler, and the reactions from, I think, most people watching are that this is the team from 2021 or 22 or 23. But in reality, the fixes are very easy, and the coaching staff can see what's on the ice, and they just need to tighten up in certain areas to be the team that they were in the rest of the playoffs when they were winning those games.
I think 2 days off is going to be really important. You said something there, Jesse, about sometimes we forget there's a team at the other end of the ice. And that is something in particular, because of the streams, I've tried to beat just out of my brain. Because there were nights years ago where I was watching the game and I realized I haven't even looked at an opposing player. I'm tracking the Leafs and I'm tracking what they're doing defensively and what they're doing offensively. And I don't know exactly how I've done it, but I think I'm much better at watching the whole ice. And well, it's you're cheering for your team and you want to see what your team does, right? So what I've done is it's easier to pick apart everything that's happening on the ice. You just got to, at least I found for me, maybe this comes naturally to people. It didn't come naturally to me. You got to make a conscious effort to watch what all 12 guys on the ice are doing at any given time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And the Leafs, they play well. They need to fix a bunch of things from 4 to 5, but it's not that they don't have it in them and the ability to squeak out the series.
I agree.
Have you ever felt lost?
Oh, yeah.
Have you ever been lost?
Yeah.
Well, Saley could help.
Oh, how?
See, here's the thing. Because if you've ever been lost, you can have basically you have Wi-Fi anywhere.
What?
You can have cell phone plans anywhere in the world, right?
What?
160 countries, 8 regions.
That's so many countries.
And if you feel lost, you can Google why. You can figure it out. And then you can do all that with Saley. And you can know, because it's backed by Nord Security, that you're going to be safe.
Dear Saley, what's wrong with me?
You can do that.
Okay.
And you can do it affordably. And that's the key, right? Because when you go on vacation, nobody loves planning for the roaming charges.
Right.
You can avoid that completely by just downloading the Saley app, buying your eSIM plan. You don't need to wait in line to get a local SIM card at the airport. No scams. 24/7 support, chat available 24/7. There's no way to. I just don't understand why you do anything else. And vacation season's on its way. I'm going to Amsterdam this summer.
Oh,
So for a wedding, believe it or not,
Are you going to bring Saley with
I'm going to bring Saley with me. I'm going to sail over. I'm actually going to fly over, but with Saley. And I'm going to use our promo code too.
you'll be flying high, I bet.
Yeah. I'm going to Saley.com/dangle or downloading the Saley app and using Dangle for 15% off. It's exclusive, 15% off Saley data plans. Right now, use the code checkout. Use the code Dangle at checkout.
Oh, there you
Download
go.
the Saley app or go to Saley.com, SAILY.com/dangle. Moving on to Dallas and Winnipeg, who played early yesterday. So while we were here getting ready for the pre-show, we were watching the game. And we saw something happen that was kind of nuts.
Two of the dumbest officiating decisions in these playoffs.
Well, before we get to that, let's talk about the history that was made.
Oh.
That means that was the Dallas Stars scored a goal, and it wasn't even their first goal, it was their second one, and it didn't include Mikko Rantanen. And that's the first time that's happened since April 28th.
That's completely insane.
So the first Dallas goal since April 28th that did not include Mikko Rantanen, April 28th to May 11th.
With a goal or an assist.
Goal and an assist.
That is psychotic.
And you know what? You were right. You've never been more right than you were when you said the Colorado Avalanche are the only team in the playoffs whose loss gets worse the deeper their opponent goes. Joe Sakic, we played you that clip last week where Joe Sakic was like, well, we felt like we couldn't do this. And, he's got that Burnaby accent, He's got, we felt like we couldn't pay this many players.
Is that a thing?
It's like,
They all have an underbite? What is
You
that?
don't sound like Joe Sakic
He does.
at all.
He does have a bit of a.
I'll be honest, that's
It's
a
thing.
terrible impression.
And I'm
You
telling
sound like
you,
Fire Marshal Bill's dad.
well, that's what Joe sounds like.
Okay.
So here's what I'm going to tell you. Nazem Kadri tweeted last night. That's why you pay the dogs. And boy, Joe, are you stepping in it right now?
Underratedly, think of all the money and all the assets the Avalanche have given up trying to replace Nazem Kadri.
I thought that immediately. Rule number 1, you always keep the dogs. #96. And by the way, the Stars immediately responded to his tweet with the dog tweet. And Steve, you're right. Like a great offseason video for you. Or maybe
this trade tree?
No, not even a trade tree. How much has Colorado spent trying to find a second line center since Nazem Kadri? And by the way, how many rounds have they won? Each year they win one, and then they're out.
They paid Bowen Byram to get Casey Middlestat, who they couldn't fire out of a rocket out the door fast enough. They paid a first and Cal Ritchie, who's going to be a monster, to get Brock Nelson,
who didn't perform for them.
They paid assets, I don't remember what, for Charlie Coyle. And who knows if they're going to be able to retain either of
Jack
those
Drury
guys.
came in the Mikko Rantanen trade.
Yeah.
He's not a second line center, but he is a center.
They've paid a lot. And that's just Kadri.
Yeah.
Right? So now there's the Rantanen thing. Every game, it gets worse for the Avs. And I am not, if I'm Joe Sakic, every night I see the Stars are winning their series. I see Carolina's winning their series. And I'm just like, please not a Dallas-Carolina final. Please not a Dallas-Carolina final. I couldn't survive it if I was him. I would just have to look at all my cup rings if I was Joe Sakic. Joe Sakic might be able to do it. I don't know if Chris McFarland can. Yeah, Joe Sakic will be fine. Chris McFarland, it might be harder to stomach.
So, by the way, credit to Dmitry Filipovich for coming up with the April 28th, May 11th stat. That was all him.
Insane.
So, there are a few things that we need to talk about in this game. Obviously, it's a 5-2 win for Dallas. The first
Why?
thing,
What was the game-winning goal?
The first thing, which was a game-winning goal, is does a puck that is kicked and then deflected by the goaltender into the net, does it count or does it not count?
It turns out it counts.
It turns out it counts.
Shouldn't you start with Marchment?
Do you want to start with Marchment?
Yeah, it happened first.
It did?
Yeah, that was going into the second period.
Okay, well, we're already on this. Let's just do this.
Okay.
And I also thought this is the more egregious one. The Marchment one we can get to later. So here's how it's written. A puck that deflects into the net off an attacking player's skate who does not use a distinct kicking motion is a legitimate goal. A puck that is directed into the net by an attacking player's skate shall be a legitimate goal as long as no distinct kicking motion is evident. The following should clarify deflections following a kicked puck that enters the net. A kicked puck that deflects off the body of any player on either team, including the goaltender, shall be ruled no goal.
So what the hell?
2, a kicked puck that deflects off the stick of any player, excluding the goalkeeper's stick, shall be ruled a good goal. A goal will be allowed when an attacking player kicks the puck and the puck deflects off his own stick and then into the net. A goal will be allowed when a puck enters the goal after deflecting off an attacking player's skate or deflects off his skate while he is in the process of stopping. So here's the question, guys.
That's scouting the refs, by the way, who have been a godsend this past week.
Here's what I want to ask with this goal. Is the reason this counted that the kick isn't really a kick because it's a deflect?
It's a kick.
Jesse, is it a kick?
Yeah, they ruled it a kick. It was a kick, but they ruled it was propelled by Hellebuck, is the words from the NHL head office.
So the goalie union is always going to defend the goalie union, unless you're Jake Allen, traitor. But I thought Marty Biron had it. Goalies trying to make a save off a distinct kicking motion should not be penalized for trying to do their job. I don't care that Hellebuck deflected the puck into his own net, and the rule explains how it shouldn't be a goal. He's right. He's 100%. Why is Hellebuck being punished? Because, it was kicked. It was blasted in by a kick, which is not allowed. But hockey's relationship with kicks is very strange because you're not allowed to kick the puck. No. You are allowed to kick the puck in every situation except for into the net.
Well, and I get why.
You could just soccer kick the thing down the ice. It doesn't matter.
Because there's a knife on the bottom of your foot. And I understand why they would have the rules written that way. Mm-hmm. So, Jesse, are you saying the NHL said it wasn't going in, but because Connor Hellebuck hit it in, then it's a goal?
I'll read it from the Situation Room. The Situation Room initiated a video review to further examine if Petrovic kicked the puck into the Winnipeg net. Video was then used to determine if the puck made contact with Petrovic's stick prior to it entering the net. After looking at all available replays, video review supported the referee's call on the ice that Connor Hellebuck propelled the puck into his own net. So they completely disregarded whether or not Petrovic kicked it or not. I think they determined that he did kick it, but the determining factor on whether this was a goal or not was that Hellebuck created an own goal, which I think is a ridiculous way to interpret the rules, when in the rule itself that you read there, Adam, it says if the puck hits the goalie's stick, then it shall be ruled no goal because he's trying to make a save, and Hellebuck touched the puck with his stick to propel it into the net.
So Hellebuck did it on purpose? I'm not understanding the logic.
They're saying that the puck, it was going wide, and he propelled it on his own into the net. Yeah. So that's their reasoning, and I think they are interpreting their own rules incorrectly.
Now, one thing, Adam, you were talking about the knife shoes thing, and it's about safety. It's not. So I think it was the Kings series, Evander Kane was in the blue paint, kicks the puck
to himself,
and he puts it on his stick and he scores. So it's fine. That, I think, I want to say that was the infamous goal that was challenged. I'm not totally sure.
It was. That's the Hiller challenge.
There you go. So there's a guy kicking the puck in the blue paint. Everyone is in danger. Mm-hmm. Doesn't matter. He scores. Yeah. Right? So it's not about the knife shoes. Are players now, this is not going to be the practical solution most of the time when you're in the offensive zone. But if you're a player and you now know that you can blast the puck with your skate at the goalie, and if the goalie just sort of goes and moves funny and knocks it in, it's a goal. Mm-hmm. Why wouldn't you try that if you don't have any other options available to you?
Right.
I don't think I know what the rule. So usually in situations like this, we go, there's what the rule is, and then there's what the rule should be. This isn't one of those scenarios.
No.
There's what the rule is, and also you misinterpreted the rule.
Yeah, their interpretation of it is on this play where Hellebuck is hitting the puck with his stick, and then he propels it into the net. They think that this moment of him hitting the puck with his stick is so different from the kick from Petrovic that it is its own play, and that it's the responsibility of the goalie there, and the goal is good.
So,
But you're
because
forcing him to make a play on
he
the puck.
fundamentally changes the trajectory and the speed.
Exactly. Like he changed it so much that it's a new kind of event away from the kick. Their specific language about propelling the puck, I think, is the important thing there.
Yeah.
In that's what Hellebuck did, and that's what created the goal. But I completely disagree with that interpretation. It says you kick it and the goalie hits his stick because he's trying to make a save. It's a no goal. But they don't agree with their own rules.
I think it was Sarah Sivian or somebody tweeted out that the NHL did a study on how long it would take. I think it was Sarah. It was years ago. How long it would take to redo the rule book and clarify things. And they said it would take 5 years. And I remember at the time going, start now. This is the best time to plant a tree is right now.
Yep.
And what happens when you leave rules purposely vague is you open them up to interpretation. And when you open things up to interpretation, while it allows you flexibility, it also allows for the rules to just not be followed. And it, to me, the way Jesse has explained it, the way the NHL says they look at it, because here's the thing about the NHL. It's sometimes it's like, hey, I shot an arrow and I painted a bullseye around it, and so now I've got a bullseye.
Yes.
It's sometimes the play happens, they make their call, and then they use their vague rules to justify it, rather than, hey, let's follow our rules so that we can tell whether or not this play... to me, their rules are used in reverse. The rules are supposed to be there so you can control what happens in a game and make sure that it's as fair as possible. For what I see from the NHL, the rules are used as a justification for their own mistakes. And I think this is very clearly a mistake. And all the NHL would have to do in this situation is go, that was the wrong call. We're sorry. The result is what it is. And in the future, we won't look at it that way. But
because they would never do that because the Situation Room who made the call, right?
That's what I'm saying.
The Situation Rule are the people in charge of the rules. So they would have to admit their own rules are wrong. I think they were wrong, but to admit that would be crazy.
So
the NBA does that.
Agree.
The NFL does that too.
The NBA does it.
The NBA, they are they say when an official makes a wrong call in the middle of the action.
Okay.
They wouldn't say that like NBA head office made a wrong calling, you know?
Right.
Which is what happened here.
Right. Okay. Okay.
So again, the Department of Player Safety, the one good thing they did this year was they released that video explaining why the Zach Whitecloud hit on Matthew Knies was
Which
okay.
you got them to do.
There's greater than 0% chance that that's what happened, but I don't know. A statement on this goal is inadequate. A statement on why this counts is inadequate. I could see a world where the NHL releases a video or get ready to, are you wearing socks? Get ready to have them knocked off.
No.
Because what if a credentialed reporter was actually able to ask them questions about the nuances of this goal?
No. That's
Can
not
you
allowed.
friggin' imagine?
Mm-hmm.
No, that Situation Room press release is what is all you're getting, right?
Which is, it's inadequate. It's not good enough.
I want to know like where their logic went from disregarding what the rule book says about the goalie touching the puck with his stick, because it explicitly says when he touches it, it can't be a goal. But they decided in this instance that rule doesn't apply, even though he touched it with his stick. That's the question I want to ask them.
Yes.
Hockey is a
and
more...
guess what? You'll never get the chance to.
No.
Hockey is a
the sad
more
part.
complicated sport than most other team sports. And I know that because hockey, more than any other team sport, has its own hardcore fans every single year, multiple times a year, going, I have no idea what the rule is here.
Mm-hmm.
And the NHL needs to make more of an effort to educate their fan base. Don't make the puck glow. I don't need Pat McAfee to tell me hockey is awesome while holding a mini stick. Tell us what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
That's a game-winning goal in the playoffs, and no one gets it.
But Steve, he's an American guy who played football, but he likes hockey.
Oh, man. Yeah, let's hear Stephen A. say the line. Oh, he said the line. Guys, you got to put an effort into your product. Like, every team is worth more than $1 billion, right? All these TV deals, put some friggin' work in. We work in, we're in media production. It wouldn't be rocket science to do this. You can do it. You can make edits to it. The Knies Whitecloud video How many casualties were there? How many people in head office died in the making of that video? Was the answer none?
In fact, I think
Are they okay?
I think people were respectful of that.
Yes. You know how hard it was for me to be like, oh, George Peros really cooked with this one? He did. They did a good job. I thought it wouldn't kill you to explain yourselves here.
I
don't think it would.
Scott Arniel postgame was really good to call out the NHL Situation Room and just say point blankly that they got it wrong. I can play for you guys here.
Sure. You won't be able to hear
Scott, what explanation did they give you on that kicking goal?
The puck was kicked, but that heli
that didn't sound like
directed
puck.
it in to the net. The rule states that if the puck gets kicked, if it hits a body or a stick of anybody else other than the goaltender, it counts as a goal. It hit our goaltender's stick and went in the net. That is no goal.
The coach doesn't understand.
They said that heli propelled the puck in. I haven't seen the word propel in the rule book.
No, that's exactly what I've been trying to sit here and say for 5 minutes or whatever. Like, the reason they gave him doesn't make sense because it's not in the rule book.
It sounds a lot like, that's not adequate. It's not. You know what? This feels like a goal. What? What? Answer some questions.
Yeah.
Show us a video. Show
is-
us examples. Show us precedent.
This is from the horse's mouth. The Situation Room talked to Arniel, told them this, and it doesn't line up with their own rules.
Mm-hmm. Like, you know what would have been funnier is asking Pete DeBoer about it. Oh, I thought it was a good goal.
Yeah.
You would get a short answer out of Pete.
Yeah.
I don't know what he said. Like,
I've never seen a goal where they admit that he kicked it and they still rule it a goal.
yes. Well, and even on the broadcast, if I'm not mistaken, they were guessing.
Yeah.
Because
They
they're
do that a lot, by the way. Announcers have to guess a lot.
Well, no, not even it was the panel. And if I'm not mistaken, there was a lot going on last night. So if I get this wrong, I apologize. But if I'm not mistaken, Friedge said, well, maybe they don't feel like it was a kick.
Right.
Well, apparently they do. And they're just like, yeah, well, it's your stupid fault, Connor.
Not even feel. They put it down and told everybody this is a kick.
Yeah, way to go, stupid Connor. It's all your fault.
Thank goodness for Mikko Rantanen because he does score to make it 4-2, and then so it doesn't end up like that.
It's still the game winning.
It's the game in a way. Like there was another.
In a way, like literal.
There was another goal on top of it, so it wasn't like the game deciding goal.
Right.
Like it wasn't
It wasn't like this was an overtime goal that decides the game. It's the game winning goal technically, but like Mikko Rantanen put one on top of that.
But if you're a Jets fan, you're like, well, that changed the entire game.
It changes the universe. You don't know what universe plays out where that goal is not allowed.
Oh man, that's deep.
The universe
changes the whole universe.
Changes the universe.
No, it's an inadequate explanation.
Now that came after something that I think
This might be dumber.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is more egregious.
And this is something that, after when you put it into context of, okay, so we saw that and they don't know the rules and it leads to the game-winning goal, right?
Yeah.
That's enough to drive you crazy. But imagine it comes on the heels of a guy whacking a referee with his stick and nothing being done about it. And remember, there are 10-game suspensions that are handed out for this.
Dude, David Clarkson got 10 games for coming off the bench in a preseason game to grab John Scott and prevent him from killing his star player. Not a punch was thrown.
And by the way, that 10 games didn't kick in until the start of the season. They didn't count the
Awesome.
preseason for that.
Cool. Good. Great.
So Mason Marchment is the one under the microscope. And there's a play where he is sort of leaving the zone. It feels, when I see this, it looks like he's trying to sell it a little bit. He does get
a little bit.
There's a little acting. Well, not this part. Not this part.
Not that part. Man.
Yeah.
This part.
This part here.
Yeah.
Okay. Now.
So Mark Scheifele barely blows on him here. And then he goes down on his knees for half the ice.
Yeah. In fairness, people are forgetting early career Mark Scheifele was the biggest diver in the NHL.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was disgraceful.
Yeah. But this wasn't the only play Mason Marchment was upset with because he had a mini breakaway.
Yeah.
And he got taken down and he wanted a call there too. So there's 2 calls that he wanted and they didn't get.
Right. So
he threw a
there's
tantrum.
So then
there's a reason for what he did, right?
Hey Jesse. So what Mason Marchment did was he went to the bench and broke his stick and stewed about it, right?
No, he screamed at the ref and then hit him while screaming at him.
Okay, so here's
So this is him finally getting up after being touched by Scheifele, and then he goes to the official and hits him on the shin. There
it is, bang.
Yeah.
Now, listen, he didn't cut him in half. It is just a little whack. But the NHL in the first round of the playoffs was like, we are drawing a hard line. You may not flip pucks at a goalie. I don't care if he's your friend, allegedly. And Xhekaj and McElrath, you're not allowed to even look at each other and talk each other funny. You're not allowed to do that pregame. They handed out nearly $100,000 worth of fines. $25,000 to Ottawa, $25,000 to Montreal, $25,000 to Washington, thousands to Cousins, thousands to McElrath, thousands to Xhekaj.
Wait, who just got 7,000 too? Somebody just got fined 7,000.
Which is the new Nicolas Waugh.
Oh, yeah.
And
it was for the cross check to the face of when he was trying to hit the
Trent Frederick. Yes,
I'm gonna come out and say valid.
Yep.
Valid. But they handed out nearly $100,000 worth of fines because of pregame why-I-oughtas, pregame shenanigans. Now you have an opportunity to be like, do not touch our officials. Ever in any situation. And I complain about the refs all the time. That is a line you can't cross.
No.
You may not touch an official. That's absolutely insane. Someone sent me, it was Matvei Michkov got a 10-minute misconduct for abusive official earlier this season. And Adam, like, I got to get in your face for this, but literally the ref is repeatedly going, boop, boop, blowing the whistle in his face, blowing out his eardrums, and Michkov gives him one of these and swats it away. That ref's lucky he didn't lose any teeth. What the hell are you blowing out my eardrums for? But he got 10 minutes for very validly, I think, being like, get that whistle out of my face. But he didn't know those words in English yet. So all he had was the paw. It was a ref big dogging a young guy, which they love to do. These guys are disgraceful. But they should also be protected. You may not hit a ref with your stick. I don't care how soft it was. Are you out of your mind? Are you an actual crazy person?
Yeah. Touching him at all should be off limits.
So
I don't get
yes, it should.
Yeah.
And what happened?
Well, let me read it. From Elliot Friedman, league has discussed incident at the end of the second period between Mason Marchment and referee Graham Skilleter, your favorite.
Yep.
It's on ice officials called to decide whether that qualifies as abuse of officials violation. The answer was no, so no further action. And apparently Mason Marchment apologized between the second and the third.
Yeah, okay. He came out of the intermission and he apologized. So it's all good.
You could
Hey, it's all good. What are you so mad at?
Take that apology and put it in an applicator. And I'll tell you where to put it.
Do you know if Kadri had just apologized, he would have never been suspended?
Man, I'm sorry for almost decapitating like 3 guys. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah.
Dude, like, sorry is the bare minimum, and I don't care. So the rule is the official needs to be like, this is abusive and official.
Yeah.
That is a genuinely stupid friggin' rule. You're putting that ref, in this case Graham Skilleter, in an impossible to win situation. So I'm willing to bet he doesn't know if he missed a call or not. Stuff happens out there. It's super fast. We complain when they miss stuff all the time. But I think there are a lot of situations where things happen and the ref is a human made of flesh and bone, and they're like, I don't know. So let's say he genuinely missed that call on Mason Marchment. Now he is responsible for giving Marchment an abusive official penalty, and then he's probably kicked out of that game, and he might be fined or suspended for more. The Marchment is going to hold it against him. The Stars are going to hold it against him. Their fans are going to hold it against him. You're putting him in an impossible to win situation. What are you doing? And also, there's a history of refs taking this cop-out. Generally speaking, they don't want conflict with these guys.
Mm-hmm.
It
might interrupt their poker game this summer.
Well, yeah. Hey there, friggin' Tim. I'll give you a story from Brian Burke's book. I forget the name of the player, But if I remember the story correctly, what happened was he shoved a ref, shoved him. That's an automatic 10-game, like he pushed him to the ice. That's an automatic 10-game suspension. Then he slashed the ref too. And what Brian Burke wanted to do, Brian Burke was the head of the Department of Player Safety at the time. What he wanted to do was give this player 20 games, a quarter of the season.
That's a lot.
And he spoke to the official about it. And I think, I'm trying to remember exactly. I think it was a matter of only one of the incidents was actually caught on camera.
Oh, okay.
And so Burke can only suspend for 10. Right? So he talks to the ref and the ref's like, listen, I don't want to pursue it. Right? So Burke could only get 10. He can only give this player 10. He calls the guy up and begins the conversation with, listen here, you big dumb fucker. The reason you're only getting 10 is because of that ref, and I'm going to give you 10, and you're going to say, thank you, Mr. Burke. And the guy goes, thank you, Mr. Burke. And he took his 10-game suspension. But like,
I love that.
I love it too. That book is so good. I listened to it when I had baby brain. I'm going to listen to it again because I'm sure there's a bunch of parts I forgot. Putting Graham Skilleter or any ref in a situation where they're the one who has to make the call there is absolutely absurd. I know that's what the rule is. Change that rule yesterday because it's really, really shit. Have I made myself clear?
I think you've made it clear. Well, again, it goes back to, and it's like Jesse explaining the goal to me. I'm like, okay, so they see it as a different play entirely. Like, I don't know. What are the rules, man? What are they?
Imagine if they went to Stollers after he got hit by Bennett. I don't know, man. What do you think? I don't know. What do you think? Fine. 8 games. 8 games. All right, we're going to give him 8 games. So act like a business, for God's sake. Act like a league. This is why I keep saying not a league when it comes to the NHL. Just call the rule of fucking while you're at it.
Whatever we feel like tonight.
You're pissing into the wind.
Oh, but he's a good guy.
He's a good guy. Act like a league that employs human beings. Make a decision that doesn't include the party who was assaulted.
Now,
what are you doing?
Did you know there's levels to abuse of an official?
I did not.
Like,
Tell me about it.
The touching of the official is like the game misconduct level of abuse of an official.
So you're talking like body check or something?
No, like touching.
Literally touching.
Literally, the rule states you're not allowed to touch an official, but like arguing a call, banging your stick on the bench. There's a couple other things, and disagreeing with a call in a couple different ways. You can get a 2-minute penalty for an abuse of an official. And they've created all of those to be subjective, like things guys do all the time.
Yeah.
The officials have a right to give them a penalty on that.
They get punched in the face trying to break up fights on a regular basis.
Which is a part of the misconduct penalty of abuse of an official. If you try and remove an official when he's trying to hold you back from a fight, they can give you a game misconduct for that.
That happens on a weekly basis in the regular season. What are you talking about?
That's all in the rule book. Even a player who intentionally knocks or shoots the puck out of reach of an official is a misconduct penalty.
Oh yeah, I've seen it called.
So there's a whole bunch of things that the officials can just give to these players, whether they choose to or not. And one of the most egregious ones is you can't touch them. That's under the game misconduct penalty, where you can't touch a guy here.
So where's the part of the rule book where they just let the refs make it up on the fly?
That's the entire rule book.
Like, good Lord, that's so stupid. That is really stupid. And like, again, I criticize these guys all the time. I think they're grossly inconsistent, but they have got to have certain protections in place.
Sure.
And an automatic something or other where you take the decision out of their hands is the bare minimum here.
Yeah.
You've got to change that rule. That is Asinine.
I think the game misconduct one where you touch an official would be 39.53. Any player who deliberately applies physical force in any manner against an official will receive that game misconduct penalty. But that's only one subsection of like 800 million different things you're not allowed to do.
It's amazing that you even found it, Jesse.
At minimum, he should have been thrown out of the game.
Yes, that is the bare minimum. It states in the rule book you can't touch these people, and he touched them, and everyone was like,
I don't know, Graham. What do you think?
Like,
it's fine.
yeah. In that moment, Grant Skilleter decided to be too cool for school, and if it was any other official in that moment who wanted to flip his stuff about it, he might have had a game misconduct, but he decided not to. It's weird. It's very odd.
Leaving that up to the ref is, I don't understand
Also,
that
Mason
in the
Marchment
slightest.
should never receive another call ever again. And
He might not.
He might not.
He might not
He
now.
shouldn't.
He might not now.
Like, the dude tried to dive, and then he touches an official. Like, no, you don't get any penalty calls.
Well, you know what was a turning point in Michael Bunting's career? Was getting assaulted by Dan Kelly.
Yes, who tried to shove him off the ice.
Twice.
Yeah.
And nothing happened. Nothing happened.
And he never got a call again. Michael never got a
Never got
Yeah.
a call again.
It was his own fault.
And what was his crime? Yeah, he's a bit of a diver, let's be honest. You know, he's not a Leaf anymore, so I can say that. But he got shoved by a linesman, and fans got upset about it. Oh, Leaf fans. Oh, Leaf fans and their Leaf fanning. Leaf fans and they're complaining about linesmen shoving players so that they almost fall off of the ice surface.
There are
The
no
league
protections
is
for the
run
players.
by maniacs.
From Sportsnet stats, and this is, without question, this is the real story. You know, we could talk about the Marchment slash, we could talk about the, I think it's Petrovic goal, but really what we need to talk about are these numbers. 0-8, 5.83, 0.827. Those numbers are the last 8 road playoff games for Connor Hellebuck.
Is that good? Oh, it's not? Oh, shoot. I thought it might be good. Boy. Now, one of those shouldn't have been a goal. So I maybe give him a bit of a pass.
Okay, fair.
This guy gets lit up on the road, man. Oh, what are you supposed to do if you're Winnipeg? I'd be curious.
I mean,
to
you
know.
have to play him.
I know.
You can't not play Connor Hellebuck.
And I know he made some big saves early, too.
He did.
Oh,
He did.
but the stats are ugly. Reminds me a little bit of Matt Murray a couple years ago. We would watch the games and we're like, he's doing okay. And then it's like, he's allowed 4 goals in 8 straight games.
Yeah.
Maybe he's not okay. I don't know.
It's I don't know what they do.
Play better in front of him. Get them to change the rule book. Or no, get the rule book to stay the exact same and get them to enforce it differently. I don't know.
I don't know. It's rough for the Jets. We'll see what happens going forward. Now, Edmonton and Vegas, the series just continues to be amazing.
Shout out to Adam for not having to do overtime.
Yeah, well, okay. And I said this to Jesse yesterday. I'm like,
my God.
I made a big mistake. It might have been my fault. The Riley Smith goal is probably my fault, guys.
Why?
Because I said with 5 seconds to go, the puck being rung around the back of Stuart Skinner's net, that I was like, all right, guys, we're going overtime.
And already it's like...
I was like, it's 5 seconds to go. There's no way they're going to generate a scoring chance in the next 5 seconds.
It's 2 Golden Knights in the zone, or
3
2 or
Oilers.
3 against... No, it was like 4.
Like, what could possibly happen? What could possibly go wrong? And when Riley Smith scored, I thought, okay, well, it must have hit the crossbar. There's no way that went in.
Yeah.
Because it came out so quickly.
Yeah.
And it was one of the most holy shit moments of the playoffs I've ever experienced. Like, that was, and it's just...
The Oilers are absolutely never boring.
No. No, they're not.
They are I'm sat appointment viewing.
Yes.
Whether it's good or bad, they don't play boring games. Ever. Ever, never, not once.
Worth mentioning that yesterday, Tom Gazzola from Edmonton said that Colin Delia is making his way So he may be the guy backing up.
Okay.
Because they were a little bit more comfortable with him. He's had a better season in Bakersfield. He's played NHL games.
Yeah, he's far more experienced.
Stuart Skinner, it looks like, according to Darren Dreger this morning, Stuart Skinner is absolutely going to start. Calvin Pickard maybe another week, guys.
Oh, wow.
Oh, boy.
That's bad.
That's bad news.
Because he wasn't good. Like, I don't know, Steve, where do you land on the final goal? Because Adam asked me on the stream yesterday, I thought it was a really good question. It's like, are you more blaming Draisaitl or more blaming Skinner?
So here's where I land, because people are giving Skinner a pass because Smith puts this through the blue paint, and if it touches nobody, it doesn't go in and we go to overtime.
So Skinner, in a way, made the save.
Come on.
He cut off the angle.
Yeah. He did his job, Steve.
Yeah, sure.
You know what's crazy, though?
Draisaitl does.
So where if you were a percentage, whose fault?
That trickle of piss shouldn't make its way past you. I don't care where it's going.
Percentage.
I go 50-50.
Oh, okay.
I go
So
50-50.
that's not based on your words. You're calling it a trickle of piss.
I mean, well, because it should have never made its way past Stuart Skinner, ever. But also, Draisaitl took a puck that wasn't going in the net and put it in the net.
Right.
Like, that's where, even though I think Stuart Skinner is embarrassing on that play,
Yes.
at the end of the day, it wasn't going in and Draisaitl put it in. Like,
Yes. So
I
you're
think 50-50
okay.
is kind to Draisaitl.
Because that's where I landed really as well, because I don't think that play in particular is the one you hang on Stuart Skinner. I think the William Karlsson goal earlier,
yeah.
I have the one
God.
that
The give and go. The give and go.
He just shot right by him. Like, it's just bad. And I forget the goals. I have to watch them again. I think it's the Nick Waugh goal, the first one. Or the
suspended
the
Nick
first
Waugh.
one for Vegas, where he just shoots it by him. Like, it's just a wrist shot. Like, Stuart Skinner should have made his saves earlier in the game.
Mm-hmm.
They should have never been in that instance, but that one play is Draisaitl put it in his team's own net, but Stuart Skinner was at fault for many things in that game.
Yes.
Everybody is to blame for everything here.
I want to I want to suggest something.
One quick thing.
No, I want to suggest something about the Stuart Skinner.
No. Dude, trust me. The website there, it says the type of shot that went in. It'll be like deflection, wrist shot, slap
on
shot.
Game Center. Yeah.
I want them to start putting right next to it the speed. Because I need to know how
that's
ass
interesting.
the goal was, or how impressive it was.
It was ass in this
More
case.
the first one.
Now, I want to talk. Oh, just give me this, Jesse. I sent you the tweet where one of the tweets where there's an angle on Stuart Skinner here. Okay. I want to suggest that you're both in the right place, but
won't look.
in the wrong visual. And this is a Stuart Skinner fault. Okay? And I'll tell you why. Entirely Stuart Skinner's fault.
Which goal
And
is
I
this?
know that if Kelly Rudy were here, he'd throw me out this window because he'd say it's never the goalie's fault.
He wouldn't.
Nice man that he is.
He would put his
He's-
hand on your shoulder and be like, Adam, I think you're off base here.
Yeah, he's just so lovely.
He's so nice.
Just love Kelly
I
Rudy.
love him.
He's the best.
I'd die for him.
You die for Kelly Rudy.
I'd die for Kelly Rudy because I had one nice conversation with him at dinner.
But isn't that amazing how that changes?
Him and his wife, they're so
you
lovely.
never forget when somebody was kind to you,
They
right?
were so unbelievably Should I tell that story again?
Well, you've told it 8 billion times.
I don't know.
I think we got it.
You want
I
this
love them.
screenshot?
But yeah, okay. Now, let me ask you this. Let me ask you this, Jesse and Steve. You know, you put this a little on Draisaitl. Does Draisaitl, if Stuart Skinner is at the top of his crease, hugging the post, Draisaitl would not be there. So the fact that Stuart Skinner overcommits to this, fires himself 5 feet out of the net towards Riley Smith. Yes, he cuts the angle, but wouldn't you rather him just lock up the shot?
This is why you consider, I cannot believe I'm saying this. This is why you consider D'Elia for the next game.
Because that's an unbelievably bad play. That's a bad read.
Any NHL goalie that believes in their heart they are an NHL goalie just stays in their net. Because they're like, I'm going to make the save on this guy who is he's taking a shot for, look at the angle. And you think this might go in? You're not fit to be an NHL goalie right now.
This is my point.
The shot was going wide.
The shot was going wild. And guess what, Jess? If Stuart Skinner's in position If he's just at the the red outline around the blue paint, if he's just sitting on that, Draisaitl's not even there.
No, you can't. So that's the thing about this goal is you can't say that if Stuart Skinner stayed in his net, he would have saved it.
Well,
if Riley Smith just came down and took a shot on Skinner,
you're right. You can't say that.
It could have just went right
this
through
is what
him.
I'm saying, though. That means
right
you can't play.
Yeah.
You can't play for my team.
I agree that this man shouldn't be starting for any NHL team.
Draisaitl's there because he's like, oh, shit, like, because a puck was going in Stuart Skinner's general direction.
Exactly.
Which is terrifying if you're in blue and orange right now.
Bad for your team.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Yeah. If Riley Smith just pops a muffin right at Stuart Skinner, that also might go in.
Pops a muffin. I like that.
One of the weirdest celebrations to end the game I've ever seen. Because Smith had to advocate that he scored.
It was like the Patrick Kane Stanley Cup winning goal.
In 2010, except Kane immediately committed to, he lost his mind and his team followed suit. The Vegas Golden Knights, it took them 5-10 seconds, but they did the thing where it's like, we don't know if we won, but we're going to commit to they should have gone all the way to the locker room.
Ryan Rashog tweeted out about 8 minutes ago the line combos from Edmonton this morning. And he's like, I'm not sure if we should make anything of this, but they are drastically different right now.
Who's in net?
Oh, it's not about that.
All right.
Yeah, no, it's actually,
let's hear it.
It's about the line combination.
I know.
No, just the forward.
Let's hear it.
Hyman, McDavid, Perry.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Nugent Hopkins, Draisaitl, Janmark.
Mm-hmm. Okay, very interesting.
And I thought the Oilers' fourth line's been really good, so I'm surprised they'd make. And then I think he makes a mistake here.
So they're going into Game 4 and it's in Edmonton, so they control the matchup.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then it's Kane, Henrique, and he says Perry again, and I think Perry is Podkolzin, I think.
Right. Or is Podkolzin?
And then he said mishmash fourth line. He doesn't even get into what the fourth line is because they kept switching it out. So are we seeing
respect to Ryan Rashog?
That's bad.
That tweet is unusable.
Yeah.
Okay. At least I thought the first six is interesting. Putting Janmark in the top
he might have
six
made a mistake.
It tells me nothing because he doesn't even have the full line.
And then a mishmash.
And his fourth line is a cop out. Like, it's very odd.
Okay.
Mishmash coming up the wing.
My point is, I didn't ask this after the Leafs segment that we did, and I think I probably should have, which is, hey, they haven't been losing. I think the second Perry is Connor Brown, by the way. Just a thought. I think it might be Connor Brown. I think he just probably, or maybe Connor Brown's up with McDavid. Again, I don't know.
You see what we're doing?
Yeah,
Adam?
you're right.
I don't know if that provided any info.
But we've had Draisaitl, McDavid, Perry, Kane, Nugent Hopkins, Hyman, Frederick, Henrique, Brown, Podkolzin, Janmark, Arvidsson for 6 or 7 games. Should the Leafs make a change after Game 4? I don't know. The Oilers seem like they might.
Well, you had it for 6 or 7 games until last game, where they separated McDavid and Draisaitl, and they were on a different line. And it really opened up McDavid. Like, when he scored that goal that he banks off McNabb, I thought he was like on fire for a good 10 minutes there when he got away from them.
So
he
Rashog did update.
And it's Brown on the third line.
Yeah, okay. So good read from you.
So Hyman, McDavid, Perry, Ryan, Nugent Hopkins, Draisaitl, Janmark, Kane, Henrique, Brown, and then again, mishmash in the fourth line.
A mishmash of who?
Probably Podkolzin.
Who is involved in the mishmash?
Who would be center of that? Trent Frederick, probably. Trent Frederick's not listed as the...
Yeah, good guess.
And Trent Frederick is a center. Can play center.
Good guess, man. Like, we're all just, we're guessing.
I don't freaking know. All I'm saying is they might change it up in Edmonton. Is that fair? Yeah. And you know what they'll do? They'll be like, yeah, we're switching up McDavid and Draisaitl. We're going to keep them apart. And then 2 shifts in, it'll be McDavid and Draisaitl out there together.
That's the beauty of the Oilers is like...
Doesn't matter.
If you need a goal, you could always be like, what if we just put the best players in the world together?
Right. Well, one thing we've seen in the series, though, is that Knobloch is willing to chase a matchup and avoid William Karlsson in particular is who he's not trying to have McDavid out there against him. McDavid only played 3 minutes when Karlsson was on the ice at even strength.
Wow.
Yeah, because Knobloch is unwilling at this point because he's playing so good defensively to throw McDavid out there against him. And I see with those lines, like he's probably trying to mix things up so he can have a balanced attack when he's trying to attack different parts of the Vegas Golden Knights lineup.
Yeah, that's fair.
It seems like he's surrounding McDavid and Draisaitl with 2 guys who can give him room.
Mm-hmm. So the last thing I wanted to mention in this series, because that's great. First off, McDavid should have been the hero of that game. That goal was crazy.
Well, they had to play
Instead-
overtime.
I know, but I feel like the way he was going, it was going Edmonton's way. It really
They
did feel
tie
like-
it at home with 3 minutes to go.
right.
That's
That's what
awesome.
that's why I thought that.
Oh, and that goal goes in. You're like, they're about to sweep them. They're about to sweep the Vegas Golden Knights. And now it's a series.
It's crazy how quickly that changed. The last thing I want to talk about, did you see Tomas Hertl trying to break his stick and whacking his trainer, the athletic trainer for the Golden Knights, in the head? You didn't see that?
No.
Oh, it's crazy. So
I saw Radulov
basically
do that in the KHL.
turns around and the stick hits the stick rack rather than the floor.
Yeah.
And then it pushes over and the guy's standing literally like if it was you and me sitting on the bench, he's like right behind you and it whacks him in the side of the head.
Oh.
And the gash he has afterwards is crazy.
He cut him.
Yeah.
See if you can see it here.
Look.
Here, Matty, pull that off and we'll play it for Steve.
All right. Let me.
That-
here. I was looking at the wrong screen. Sorry. Show it again.
Here, you just whacks him so that
Ooh.
flips him
Yeah.
on the side of the head when the.
Oh,
the
Kolasar's like, oh,
comes down.
shit.
Yeah.
It's really bad.
Yeah.
Oh, he
man.
just walks away.
Yeah,
Poor
and he
Hurdle.
goes to
I
the
would feel
back.
horrible.
Hurdle feels bad immediately.
So you
Where's-
can
where's
throw
the-
up this gash, Matty. There you go.
Ooh.
It's a good one. It's a good one. That's not even fully formed. Like, I'm going to be looking for him tonight.
He's got like a middle finger sized. Oh, my God, man.
Yeah, it's brutal. Well, you
Yeah.
got to imagine the hockey sticking to the side of your head.
Yeah.
Hurdle like full force too. He was not holding back when he
So-
smashed that stick.
When Rantanen went to Carolina, Jack Roslovich gave up his number, 96, so Mikko Rantanen could have it. Mikko Rantanen bought him a Rolex.
Mm-hmm.
So Jesse and I were having this debate yesterday on the show. And a Rolex, like a Submariner, which is like the most popular Rolex, is between 12 and 20 grand, depending upon what you're
Good
buying and
Lord.
if it's used or whatever. So is this like a dinner out? Or is this a Rolex territory? Like, if you're Tomas Hertl, you've got more money than God.
Yeah.
What are you doing here to say I'm so sorry?
So Mikko Rantanen is a millionaire. Roslovic isn't as rich, but is also a millionaire. They deal in watches. I am a trainer in the NHL. I don't know how much you think I make, but it's less than the amount that you have in your head. I'll take cash, thanks.
Don't even take me for dinner.
You know what? I make a great brisket. Like I can make food at home. I got a phone. I know what time it is. I'll take cash.
Okay. All right.
What is the current value of Tomas Hurdle's 8-year contract?
Isn't it?
64 million?
I'm going to say 68.
$65.10 million dollars.
Yeah.
That man better be writing like a $50,000 check.
Tell you what, I'll take the 1-0 off your hands.
You know what? Steve will take a brand new Mazda.
Yeah. Why not?
Like
Honestly.
you made $8.1 million this season. I want something substantial.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
Come on. Oh. And it was on, wait, let me think. He probably, a lot of people sleep on their left side. It's on the left side of his head. Oh, no, man.
Not good.
Yeah, that's, I mean, I feel bad for Hurdle because I know he feels terrible about
Yeah.
it. I feel worse for the guy who got hit in the head.
The estimated career earnings of Hurdle, $59 million. So far.
I'll take
so
cash.
far, yeah.
I'll take cash. I will tell you what. I got a couple dollars in my bank account. I will go buy a card reader to make it more convenient for you.
Also, just worth mentioning, Bruce Levine, who's a reporter for the Dallas Stars. So some of these press conferences are happening as we're going. Pete DeBoer said today that he believes Miro Heiskanen will be back.
Oh my
like in
God.
the second round.
How do you beat them?
He said he stands by his belief that Miro will be back in the second round. So that means the Stars probably think it's going to be a longer series, which is fair.
Yeah.
6-7 games. Fair. So interesting.
That is
That would be
a
interesting.
scary team.
Yep. Dallas Edmonton in the conference finals will be a bonanza. It'll be great.
Dallas Vegas rematch
Yeah.
could be crazy too.
Oh, be great.
Edmonton Dallas rematch.
I prefer Edmonton Dallas. I do.
Dude.
I can't lie. I can't get as excited for Vegas Dallas as I can get excited for Edmonton. Edmonton Winnipeg would be just death. I think those two would kill each other.
Can you imagine an all-Canadian Western Conference final followed by an all-Canadian final? The country would disintegrate.
And so would Gary Bettman.
And he would too.
And honestly, if you don't like Gary Bettman, you should be rooting for Canadian teams, all Canadian teams to get through.
No,
an all-Canadian final would be Gary Bettman poison. Now, Carolina and Washington also played, and you can be forgiven for forgetting this series is happening. It's really, it's so boring. It's so even the 4-0 game. I'm like, fart, completely uncompetitive. However, there's one guy we need to shout out.
Okay,
and I said this on the live stream yesterday. And I have been hard on this man.
Who's the guy who used to coach the Habs?
Nope. It's Freddie Anderson.
He had a good first period, good second period.
He is turning back the clock a little bit here.
Good game.
This dude, you have no idea if he's playing that night, ever.
Oh, no. Yeah. If he wakes up, you're like, are his both legs attached? Like, I'm not sure.
You show up to the arena, and you don't know. You have no idea.
But if he is.
But if he plays...
Just sign that nice extension, too.
He's going to throw up at 9:40 for no good reason. For something to do.
It's true.
That first period, I don't think the Canes made it easy on him at all. Like, they weren't playing their normal game of, like, hey, we don't allow anything high danger. Yeah. But, like, he made a couple really good saves in there to keep them in that game and keep that game scoreless through, like, the second period. And then once the Canes got their legs under them, like, midway through the second, it was just easy peasy for him. But he held them in that game. Like, all credit to Freddie. He's been outstanding.
He has allowed 4 goals in 3 games this series. And I found this particularly interesting considering the Capitals were second only to the Lightning in total goals in the regular season. They had 286 goals.
I mean, it's crazy they've won 1 game when you throw that stat out there.
Right? Yeah. I mean, it's crazy that the Leafs won 1 game against Florida 2 years ago when they scored 2 goals a game.
That's crazy.
But that's what's happening. And Jesse was like, hey, Adam, reminder, regular season scoring doesn't matter in the playoffs. And he's correct.
Not even a little bit.
But you'd think a team that scored almost 300 goals this year would be able to solve more than 4 goals in 3 games for the Capitals?
Not yet.
It just often doesn't translate, you know? It's a different game.
Man, maybe this is Rod's year. Is this Rod's year?
Baby. Well,
is this Rod's year? And we've been sleeping on Rod because we're all like, they got a free pass against New Jersey. What's the big deal? They're playing the President's Trophy team.
How far do the Hurricanes have to make it before Tulsky gets some credit here? Because listen, I hated what he did with Rantanen. Like, I didn't think it made the Hurricanes better. I thought they got futures out of it, and then they didn't even flip the futures.
Yep.
And, like, that's lovely, and the assets are great. How does it help you win this year? He turned Rantanen, this is oversimplifying it. He turned Natchez into Rantanen into Stankoven and Jankowski. And they're 2 wins away from the Final 4. I don't know, man. That's pretty impressive to me.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
They literally are having their cake and eating it too right now when it comes to competing this year and their setup for the future.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
Stankoven and Jankowski couldn't have been thrilled when they found out they were moving, but I don't think they could have ended up in a better spot, honestly. Like, if you're going to get traded, especially around the trade deadline, it's usually not to a good team.
Nope.
If you're on the other side of a star team and or star player moving, and that's all right. They're looking pretty good too.
If you get traded for Mikko Rantanen, you think you're the better team?
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
I thought that game, like, it's talking about Freddie, I think is the correct thing to do, because I think the game entirely was the game of 2 goaltenders.
Yep.
Because Logan Thompson had an ugly game. I don't know if you saw
whether he had a good game or a bad game, it's always an ugly game.
Well, yeah.
He's a hideous goalie.
Yeah,
that's not a criticism.
No,
it's
like,
amazing.
stop the puck.
But I know what you mean, Jeff.
And you can't score. You can't win a game if you don't score. Like, if on the Capitals, they didn't put up any goals, but Logan Thompson didn't help them at all. The Robinson goal in particular, I thought was really ugly. The first one's Fetch, who comes off and he comes off the face off and just wires a wrist shot and it beats him. Probably should have had that one.
How fast was it?
But they don't have the miles per hour there. But this Robinson goal, like, it's just, he's so deep in his net. Steve,
is that where he shoots from?
This shot from this screenshot.
That's where Stuart Skinner should have been.
This puck goes in. This puck goes in the net.
Oh,
that's unforgivable.
That's bad.
Yeah.
Like, in a tight game in the third
period. Does it go over his left shoulder or right?
It goes over his left shoulder, so it goes in the top corner,
which is his blocker,
which is a shame. So he's
got to get up.
He shoots it from the face-off dot. Logan Thompson's hugging his post for some reason.
He's deep
really
in the net,
tight.
dude. Yeah.
And this puck just wires right into the top corner on the far
very
side.
Small.
It's ugly positioning from Logan Thompson. You see it a lot these playoffs. You see it a lot with Logan Thompson, and he's not helping the Caps in any way. But they also need to score goals.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's weird when you go down 2-0 in a game and you end up losing 4-0. There was no chance you could ever win that game, no matter how good or bad your goalie was. Like the Leafs,
You showed
doesn't
it
matter
at the end there. It's never good when the other team looks surprised.
Yeah. No, nobody knew this puck went in because they were like, oh, we expected that to go wide.
Everything about Robinson's body language is, I scored.
yes.
These are professional athletes. They should never be like, oh my goodness. Like it's their first time.
Yeah. It was an ugly, ugly goal.
Yeah. I hope Caps fans and Hurricanes fans don't take it any kind of way when we talk about this series. Like I'm not calling it like bad hockey. It's not. Jesse just showed me it in real time. That's a terrible goal. that's
it's
so
bad.
It's just we're following Leafs Panthers, and that's been a bloodbath. Dallas Winnipeg has been insane. The Oilers are always a carnival, and they're playing Vegas, who's also a carnival. And then there's this, and I'm sorry, there's 4 series, and this one's 4th. You can rank the other ones however you want to. Until something nutso happens, until Tom Wilson decides to give someone the stunner in Game 4, this one's number 4 out of 4 in terms of impartial fan interest.
It is. Now, how about this one? I ran this by Jesse last night, but I'm going to do it again. This is something that everyone in the league should care about. We got a logo rebrand.
What? A logo rebrand?
Yeah, that's right. We got a team that had their logo rebranded. It's redone. Now, I remember when we were at Rogers, they were like, we spent millions of dollars and we have redone the Rogers logo, and there's going to be a big unveiling, and there was a webcast, and we all had to be in on it. And they ended up swiveling the logo 25% because it's a circle, right?
Yeah. Also, sorry we laid off a bunch of your friends.
Yeah. It cost them millions of dollars, and we're like, and everybody's like, yay. And I'm like, I'm not going to applaud this. This is weird. But anyway, the St. Louis Blues.
I'm so glad I don't have to go to any more work conferences
Town
and
halls,
applaud things that objectively suck.
Microsoft team meetings. But let's have a look at the St. Louis Blues new logo. The one on the left is the one on the left facing you, by the way, is the current version. Obviously, the new version's on the right. A little bit more of an accent of white around the outside of it. And the music note's a little smaller. And so, Jesse, you didn't love this. You weren't a big fan.
Like I like the current version better.
Did you see the Tony X tweet?
What happened?
He goes, not the Ozempic Blues logo.
Yeah, where you thin it out. Yeah.
They literally just made it thinner.
Yeah.
They just put it on like a diet or something for a few weeks.
So I'm wondering,
it's skinnier.
How does this look against a Blues jersey?
Right.
Does it pop a little more?
That's the thing that matters the most, right? It's how it looks on the jersey. So it's hard to judge it. I don't know. I think the bigger note looks better to my eyes on these just logos here, but we'll see how it looks on a jersey.
Also key to the Blues, and they've been wishy-washy on this over the years, you're the Blues. So what does your jersey have to have a lot of? More than anything of. Blue, right? Okay. Remember when they wore red for a really long time? Mm-hmm. They even had a primary red? That was weird, and they should stop that immediately. I'm okay with your weird skinny Ozempic logo as long as you don't bring back the red.
I'm gonna
the Gretzky Blues jersey.
Yeah.
I don't mind that jersey.
No, yuck. You're the Blues. Easiest job in the world.
Yeah.
You are the Blues.
By the way,
your jersey is blue.
When we did that segment last week, where we were talking about why is this team named this way?
Look at this stupid friggin' thing.
Yeah, it's bad. Okay, fair.
It's a red Blues jersey. Ew. Anyway, sorry.
I guess they did it for their reverse retro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Team names that don't make sense. The Blues should be up there, but the St. Louis Blues are named the St. Louis Blues because of W.C. Handy's favorite song, St. Louis Blues. I've never heard this song, but their owner, Sid Salomon Jr.
Handy?
I guess W.C. Handy was a big artist back then.
All-time unfortunate last
That sounds
name.
like a made-up character in a cartoon.
It sure does.
He owns all the businesses in the town.
Oh, that's W.C. Haney's building.
I'm afraid to Google W.C. Haney.
So the team's owner, Sid Solomon Jr., not to be confused with Sid Solomon Sr., selected the nickname in 1967 as one of the 6 expansion teams that joined the
bad
NHL.
year.
Other names considered were the St. Louis Mercury, which I believe is a newspaper, and Apollo, inspired by the space capsules built in St. Louis.
Cool.
So they named it after a song. Better than your sister-in-law going, hey, this sounds nice.
Oh my God, who was that, the Flyers?
The Flyers. By the way, I had Flyers fans reaching out and going, yeah, we think it's pretty silly too. But I'm like, it is a top 10 jersey. The jersey's great. I
the
love
name
a Flyers
sucks.
jersey.
It makes no sense.
Yeah, I love the Flyers jersey though.
The
I've always loved it.
Flyers. And we're here talking about the Mammoth. Like, no. You're not putting enough thought into the dumb names that are already in this league.
Exactly. Now, I did want to mention a couple of things. The World Championships are on, and they're usually, if you want to watch hockey and the playoffs aren't on, the World Championships are great. And
it's on in the afternoon.
That's what I mean,
also
right?
love, yeah.
That's the point, right? It's not on at the same time as the playoffs. And, you've got, so Canada rolled a line. Crosby, McKinnon, Celebrini.
Lol. All first overall picks?
Outrageous. Like, that's what, that alone is worth the price of admission.
2005, 2013, and 2024. Wow.
Yeah, it was 4. They beat Latvia and they beat Slovakia so far. They should win.
Heroic.
But what was interesting is I was watching this as I was prepping some of the show yesterday afternoon. France almost beat Finland yesterday.
Well, I love the World Championship for this crap.
So France was up 2 goals. They were up 3-1 with 2 minutes to go. And then Eli Tolvanen scored 2 in the final 2 minutes of regulation and then set up Juuso Parssinen in overtime. But France has only beaten Finland once, and it was in 2017.
Who are the 2 goal scorers for France? Go.
Tim and Kevin Boson, the Boson brothers. That is a great, by the way, Boson brothers. Come on, I wish they were in the NHL.
I might actually recognize that.
And Antoine Keller, 47 saves for France. I remember back in the day when Cristobal Huet used to play for them.
I do remember that.
And I believe, is it Pierre-Marc Bellemare?
Pierre-Edouard Bellemare.
Pierre-Edouard. There's a Pierre
Antoine Roussel.
Terrible.
There's been a handful.
But Bellemar's playing for them.
He
now.
is?
Yeah, he's 40 and he's playing for them. He's a man.
Is he still playing pro?
I don't know. I didn't go that deep into Team France, I'll be honest with
Why not?
you. That might be like a Jeff Merrick question.
There was a time in our podcast history where we would go through every name.
That was for the Olympics when we tried to announce all the Austrian names.
And we knew none of them.
None of them. But anyway, I just thought World Championships were worth mentioning.
My favorite subplot of the World Championships is Sidney Crosby's neck guard, because Sidney Crosby in this photo is wearing a neck guard. They are required at the World Championships. Do you know where he got this neck guard from?
I do, but I don't. I want Steve to guess.
From his childhood days, back when he was playing for Rimouski, there is a picture of him on Rogers' local television wearing that exact same neck guard.
He's had it since he was 14.
That's cool.
Yeah, and he has not changed. And there it is on him today.
He's
like,
had
that's
it
insane.
for well over half of his life. That neck guard is older than a chunk of people watching the show right now.
Like a lot.
A lot. It is. Wait. Is that neck guard older than Macklin Celebrini, his line mate?
I don't know when he acquired the neck guard.
It has to be.
It could be.
Well, because let's say he was 15. Crosby's what, 37, 38?
37, yeah.
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 It's like significantly older than Celebrini. That's crazy.
But like Crosby has always been this kind of guy. If you know about his undershirt he wears when he plays hockey, it's still a Reebok Penguins one from like when he initially joined the Penguins. And he still wears it. If you watch him in any post game when he's sitting out a locker, it's that same stupid Reebok Penguins shirt.
Yeah. And his like literally salty hat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the hat's the same thing.
Oh man. Remember when he had the mumps and he was wearing that hat?
It's a hell of a picture.
That hat has seen a lot of things.
It sure has.
By the way, Kasperi Kapanen off the ice at Oilers practice before Arvidsson could be potential change. Kasperi Kapanen could be playing in the year 2025.
Is he part of the mishmash?
He might be. I'm just throwing that out there. I think that's
okay.
Anything else, guys, before we do the press conference?
No.
I think the press conference?
You want to do it?
Good?
Yeah.
All right, let's do a quick one.
Punch.
Presser. SDP. conference.
I had a tweet here
Is it a good one?
that is the most important hockey thing that you're ever going to weigh in on. It was a tweet from Ava Tarrant.
Okay.
And Adam and Steve.
Mm-hmm.
Are you a go team go chant or a let's go team chant?
I'm a go
type
team
or
go.
type
Yeah,
of
go
person?
Leafs, go.
Yeah, but
Go,
just because it's the Leafs, or do you think that is truly the superior chant for the team?
No, the better one is let's go.
Oh, so you're on that
Let's
side.
go Oilers.
Yeah.
So you would rather be let's go team
Yes.
than go team go.
Well,
Yes.
so maybe Dwayne the Rock Johnson had a point.
Yes, let's go Leafs.
The one that's some of them are super awkward. Like some British chants are just amazing, right? Some of their EPL chants, but whenever they say "Come on, you"
Reds.
or "Come on, you Whites" or "Come on,"
I hope they don't.
I hope they don't too. I always find that to be such an awkward turn of phrase, but it's
Yes.
the difference between British English and North American English.
Oh yeah.
And then what's the other one?
His nan died, and we wrote a song about it.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
When they create those, because I was listening to a podcast actually, and that came up. How do soccer fans come up with their chants that actually catch on, that they're based on pop hits? Apparently, it's like Reddit. And somebody will be like, hey, what about this? And they'll put like, here's Natasha Bedingfield and here's our lyrics. And all right, let's all try to sing it at the next game.
You can stick your David Beckham up your ass. You can stick your I don't know, man.
Yeah.
They're creative.
It's great.
They're a creative bunch.
So
That's a real
do you
one.
Have do you have any reasonings why you guys picked?
I think it flows better.
Musical.
Let's go Oilers.
Clap, clap, clap. And it's so much less likely to just die.
Yeah.
Go Leafs, go.
So the thing with the
Go
Leafs is
go,
you can't do the Leafs or the Jets that way. Let's go Jets. Because it's one syllable. Oilers is two, right? So I think you need a double syllabled, like Panthers, Lightning, like that. You can sub those in. I think the Go Leafs Go one is, it's 1-1-1 on the syllables. And I think that's why it works.
Let's do Leafs. Let's go passion. We'll figure it out.
Let's go passion.
We'll network
I
it.
like it.
Hey, there's a Leaf subreddit. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's get this going.
100%.
Yeah.
Next
Figure out some
question
chants.
comes from producer Drew.
Boo.
Producer Drew writes, about time the $13.25 million player starts scoring, eh?
Oh, that's just Drew being.
No, I disagree.
Do you have a rebuttal?
No, I don't think he needs to score. I don't think it's important. Callie Yarncroke all the way. It's no, it's important. I mean, like, listen, I think so I had a defense of Matthews after game 3.
Mm-hmm.
And I got a bunch of, well, what's your excuse this time after game 4? Well, he played way more poorly in game 4, you see. In game 3, he had 2 assists and was on the ice for another goal. And in game 4, they got shut out. So I'm not going to defend him, actually. I think he needs to score.
Does it matter that he's injured?
No. Someone's hurt every year. It's the playoffs. If you're waiting for a perfect injury-free playoff run, you'll be waiting for your entire life. Find a way.
So should the same criticism be on Matthew Tkachuk? And you should be saying, like, he should be in things more and blah, blah, blah. Because I feel like when it's the other team, you say, Matthew Tkachuk, he can't do it. He's hurting. He's injured still. Yeah. And there is leeway for other players. But when it comes to your own team, it's like, I don't give a shit. He better perform.
Yeah.
Well, it's
and I feel like that's unfair.
But that was your reaction to, hey, they were sick. Like if Steve's theory is right and they are sick, you said, oh, too bad, right?
You're gonna get sick in the playoffs as well.
Yeah.
Like, and no one cares.
So I think I agree with you on that, Jesse, in the sense that I don't think anyone cares. Matthew Tkachuk. Also, Matthew Tkachuk is in a market that has different media coverage,
and they won a cup.
Fair, and they won a cup. He's done it.
You know how ass the Leafs could be for the next 5 years when they win a cup?
Well, they could be terrible.
I don't care.
I just feel like with Matthews, he's clearly good enough to be like. Sure, he might be injured, but missing 22 shots is more than just an injury.
I think he'll
Is
be
that fair?
He'll be shot out of a cannon game 5. He's going to bury, and if he doesn't, then we reevaluate. I think him, Matthews, and the Leafs are going to have an unreal game 5. That is how they prove to us that they're built different.
Grace Hinton writes, what are your thoughts on Mikkola opening the door for no apparent reason, causing Nylander to clip the inside of the boards and end up in the Panthers bench?
I didn't see anything.
It's an accident, and he was sorry.
No, I don't. Honestly, like, if we're going to make an issue of something, let's make an issue of something that's real.
I think it was a fluke.
I think it's a fluke. I think it's a total fluke. Yeah. I think those boards sometimes just don't close properly. It is what it is.
I think it's valid that, you know what? The Panthers.
It is the Panthers. They don't deserve the benefit of the doubt.
They're the least fortunate team in hockey.
How does this bad stuff keep happening?
Like,
yeah,
they should change their name to the Whoops.
Yeah.
The Florida Whoops.
I still will. I'll give him a pass on that one. I don't see anything there. I don't see it.
It's the Panthers, and they did it to my team. They did it on purpose. Screw them.
Okay, fair enough.
Do you have
reasonable.
Do you agree with Chell Hero's theory that the Leafs always lose before 2 days off in the playoffs, and they always make breaks suck?
Wow. I have no idea what that's based on. I'd love to see the stat.
In your memory, it doesn't feel that way?
No.
I can remember a lot of sucking.
Damn. Well,
next day sucking.
The Leafs usually, in a playoff series, will lose game 4 or 5. That's just how it's gone, and that's usually when the break is. So maybe that's yeah. But I think you're conflating that being just they're bad. Like, in recent memory, they've just been bad.
They've just been sucking, so it doesn't matter when they lose.
Yeah, last year it's like, oh man, they got rest coming up. That's why they're bad. No, they weren't better than the Bruins. Solved. we figured it out. We got it for you. No, don't overthink that one.
All right, I'll hit the button.
Hit the button, Jesse. All right, so here's the deal. We will be back on Thursday because there's no Leafs game until Wednesday. So it'll be a couple days off for us too, and we get to sit in the suck. Isn't that fun?
Yeah.
Are you having fun yet?
I'm so having fun.
Oilers watch along tonight with me, and then a double watch along Wednesday night with Steve and then me for Game 5.
The Steve Dangle Podcast. Follow the guys on Twitter at Steve_Dangle, at Adam WYLDE, and at Jesse Blake. Connection complete.